Chapter 38:13. She couldn't ask Jiang Wenjing to help Jiang Lin. After all, Jiang Wenjing didn't owe Jiang Lin anything. If she forced him to do that, it would be too much. But she believed that if Jiang Wenjing really cared about his sister, he would definitely save her. Jiang Wenjing was a little uncomfortable with Jing Ainan's gaze, so he came to the ward to visit Jiang Lin. He didn't expect to hear Jiang Lin's words as soon as he came, and he felt even more guilty. Sister Xiaogua, I really don't know what to do. I was adopted by my parents when I was very young, and I already owe the Jiang family a lot. If Brother Ajing sacrifices himself for me again, I'll feel very sad. Jiang Lin's face was full of pain, as if she was really suffering from this matter. I really can't hurt Brother Ajing anymore, so let's forget about this operation. The doctor said that I should be able to live for a while in this situation. I'll live one day at a time. I haven't found a suitable match for so long, and in the end, Brother Ajing's match was the one. This should be God's punishment for me. He must think that I've received too much, so he punished me in this way. Jiang Lin was already crying bitterly, and her voice was a little desperate. If Tanggua hadn't known what kind of person Jiang Lin was from the plot, she might have really believed her words. Why let me suffer such pain and let Brother Ajing experience it again? It's enough for me to experience it alone. Jiang Wenjing was touched when he heard this outside. Indeed, he was the only one in Lin Lin's entire world. How could he not save Lin Lin in the face of such a person? Jiang Lin felt that she had said enough. Now, she had to make herself agitated. It would be best if she fainted. According to her current physical condition, it was indeed very easy for her to be agitated and have a great impact on her body. As long as she could survive, she would endure the pain in her body. She had to make Jiang Wenjing help her change a part of her liver. She didn't want to die. She just wanted to live. In this beautiful world, she hadn't even had enough of being the young lady of the Jiang family. Besides, Jing Ainan was already married to Jiang Wenjing. How could she die? When she died, maybe the two of them would really become a couple. At that time, Jiang Wenjing would really treat the other as his substitute. For a dead person, it was meaningless. Jiang Lin cried bitterly. Tanggua quickly passed her a tissue to stop her from crying. Jiang Lin felt that it was not enough, so she simply pulled out the needle on the back of her hand. Sister Xiaogua, I want to be discharged. Since I'm not going to perform the surgery, why should I stay here? I want to find a place to spend my last days peacefully and die peacefully. I won't cause trouble for Dad, Mom, Brother Zheng, and Sister anymore. Tanggua wanted to stop her, but Jiang Lin pushed her. In the end, he staggered and fell to the ground. Jiang Lin closed her eyes. She believed that Jiang Wenjing would be able to catch up. However, she did not expect that the ward was a little big, and the door was a little far from the bed. In just 2 seconds, Jiang Lin successfully fell to the ground. She was dizzy and her eyes were filled with stars. It was terrible. Perhaps it was too painful. She only felt a little uncomfortable, but she did not faint. However, even if she did not faint, she would have fainted. Chapter 38:14. Lin Lin. Jiang Wenjing shouted and quickly carried Jiang Lin to the bed. Jing Ainan was also very anxious. Tanggua quickly pressed the bedside bell and called the doctor. Yi Lian came quickly. Seeing the mess in the ward, he frowned. Jiang Lin's family, what's going on? How can you let the patient pull out the needle? Don't you know that it's not good for her body? When he saw Jiang Lin in such a sorry state, he hurriedly checked on her and found that Jiang Lin was still able to withstand the torment. There were no major problems. However, this time, she pretended to faint. He didn't understand what was going on. If the patient had a mental problem, he couldn't treat it because he wasn't a professional. If the surgery was over, he would be willing to remind her to go to the psychiatry department. The reason why Yi Lian didn't expose her was that he felt that Jiang Lin was occasionally a little crazy. As long as the other party didn't delay the treatment, they could do whatever they wanted. If he exposed her and made the patient emotional collapse, it wouldn't work. Dr. Yi, how's Lin? Did you say something to agitate the patient again? Yi Lian's face was stern. He subconsciously looked at Tang Guo and found that she stood silently at the door. She didn't want to come in, so he looked away. I told you before that she's a patient now and can't be provoked. You can't scold the patient, but you can scold the family. Jiang Lin cried every day, Jing Anan was pitiful, and Jiang Wenjing was like an old man. Yi Lian shook his head. What a strange combination of rich and powerful. Oh right, and that Miss Tang. He didn't know if she was here to watch the show or to see the patient. It was very strange. Okay, there's no big problem. Next time, don't let the patient pull out the needle. Besides, since the results are out, think about when you can do the surgery. Yi Lian was more serious this time. She has been sick for a long time. If she doesn't do the surgery now, she will miss the best time for surgery. If it's delayed, I can't guarantee what will happen. Jiang Wenjing didn't hesitate at this time and quickly agreed, give me 3 days. I need to deal with the company's affairs. All right. Yi Lian's expression was much better now. He did not care what these patients and their family members were up to. As long as they did not interfere with his treatment, everything was fine. Couldn't they be more quiet like Miss Tang? Yi Lian reminded the two of them and left the ward. After taking 2 steps, he realized that something was wrong. He turned around and saw Tang Guo following behind him. Miss Tang, do you have any questions? By the way, why was the patient so agitated earlier? You should know the specific situation, right? Tang Guo nodded. I was by her bedside at that time. Of course, I knew what was going on. I don't think Miss Tang said anything that provoked the patient. Yi Lian wanted to ask if Jiang Lin had said something that triggered her, but on second thought, it shouldn't be. Jiang Lin had always been the most rational one in the hospital. Jiang Lin had always been nice to her, and according to her personality, it didn't seem like she would do something like that. It was Jiang Lin who wanted to leave the hospital because she didn't want Jiang Wenjing to be implicated. Her attitude now seems to be a little negative. I don't know if the follow-up treatment will bring trouble to Dr. Yi. Yi Lian felt strange. Jiang Lin's attitude was negative. Chapter 38:15. He did not feel the negative attitude of the patient. Jiang Lin was very serious about taking medicine and medication. She was more careful than anyone about her own condition, whether it was the nurse or him. It was as if she did not want to make any mistakes. Miss Tang said that she was negative with such an attitude. Yi Lian felt that his brain was not working properly. Perhaps this was how people from rich families thought. They were different from the average person. I see. I still need the family to comfort the patient. Yi Lian was not worried that Jiang Lin's negative attitude would affect the surgery. He did not see Jiang Lin who did not want to live. She was especially concerned about the match. Forget it. He could not understand the thoughts of rich people, and there was no need for him to understand. His mission was to treat the patient and restore her health. Dr. Yi, let's have lunch together. We can talk about Jiang Lin's surgery. You will be involved, right? Tang Guo's sudden words stunned Yi Lian. When he came back to his senses, he nodded. Of course. She is my patient. After the match is found, I will be the chief surgeon. Oh, I didn't expect Dr. Yi to be the chief surgeon at such a young age. I went to school early. Naturally, I graduated at a younger age than others. So, Dr. Yi must be a genius. Usually, people with high IQ not only go to school early, but also skip grades. I'm not a genius. I'm just slightly talented in medicine, Yi Lian said humbly. At the same time, he was a little confused, but he did not reject Tang Guo's conversation. He just felt that they were not that close. However, he felt that it was not a big deal to talk about the patient's condition. He thought about it silently. Is he busy today? Not really. I don't have many patients recently. He still had time to go out for lunch. After all, he was not a doctor in the emergency department. The people there were busy every day and almost did not have time for themselves. On his own work day, he did not dare to casually agree to have lunch with anyone. Then it settled. I don't have much to do today. I'll be in Jiang Lin's ward. I'll come out when it's time. Don't forget, Dr. Yi. Okay, Yi Lian said instinctively. Why don't you give me your contact number? After saying that, he felt that something was wrong, so he quickly said, I see that you're quite concerned about the patient. If you're in a hurry and don't have time to visit, you can contact me directly. Dr. Yi, you're so thoughtful. Alright, let's exchange numbers. Alright. After both parties saved their phone numbers, Tang Guo said again, why don't you add another social media account? You're a doctor, and you're so busy. If I keep calling and disturbing you, it'll affect your work. I'll send you a message, and you can reply when you're free. That seems to be true. Yi Lian didn't think that there was anything wrong until Tang Guo told him not to disturb him and went to Jiang Lin's ward. That was when he realized that something was wrong, but he couldn't figure out what it was. System, dear host, I suddenly thought of a saying. Some people seem cold and aloof, but in reality, they can't control themselves once you tease them. Tang Guo pursed her lips and smiled. What are you thinking about? I just want to know how Jiang Lin is doing. Yi Lian is the doctor in charge. If there's anything, it's best to ask him. Chapter 38:16. System, lie to Tongzi. Dear host, I suddenly feel that this matter is a bit exciting. You see, Yi Lian is also the chief surgeon. When the time comes, he will personally help them change the liver. In other words, he will personally cut off Jiang Wenjing's flesh with a scalpel, the system said excitedly. Tang Guo interrupted, Tongzi, you're thinking the wrong way. Yi Lian is now a doctor. When Jiang Wenjing lies on the operating table, he will be the same as everyone else. As a doctor, as long as he is on the operating table, his attitude towards everyone is the same. So, it's not exciting at all. I think the most exciting thing is that Jiang Wenjing will personally cut off a part of his liver for his true love. For such a thing, don't bring Yi Lian into it. As for him, he should just do his job as a doctor. The system understood, I understand. Dear host, don't be so serious. When the time comes, there will be problems with Jiang Lin's kidney. Will Jiang Wenjing have to be cut again? Whether he will be cut or not depends on Jiang Lin's methods. As long as she can coax Jiang Wenjing to be cut, it will be the best. According to Jiang Lin's methods, she will most likely succeed. She just waited. When the Jiang couple knew that Jiang Wenjing was going to change a liver for Jiang Lin, they did not agree. They thought that this matter should wait a little longer. After all, they might find a suitable match later. Jiang Lin knew the personalities of the Jiang couple very well. Therefore, every time in front of Jiang Wenjing, she would act as if she didn't want to implicate him or leave him to fend for himself. As long as he was well, she would be satisfied. People have a rebellious mentality. The more Jiang Lin was like this, the more determined Jiang Wenjing was to save her. During this period, the interaction between Jiang Lin and Jiang Wenjing made Jing Ainen realize something. She was sad in her heart, but now was not the time to care about this. Her sister was sick. Nothing else mattered. From the moment Jiang Wenjing agreed to do this surgery, she already knew that Jiang Wenjing was probably special to Jiang Lin. She even suspected that the reason why Jiang Wenjing fell in love with her so quickly was because of Jiang Lin. Jiang Lin was her sister, so she forced herself not to think too much. She just waited for the day of the surgery. Jiang Wenjing dealt with the company's affairs. Regardless of the dissatisfaction of the Jiang couple, he went to the operating table with Jiang Lin. Mr. and Mrs. Jiang were very anxious, but they accepted this matter and waited outside the operating theater. Of course, for such a big event, Tang Guo would definitely be there. Jing An had been holding her arm the whole time. His whole body was trembling, afraid that something would happen. Until the end of the operation, Jing Ainen only felt that his legs were numb. Thinking that he was still holding Tang Guo's arm, he felt very sorry. After Yi Lian appeared, the Jiang couple quickly asked him how the surgery went. Knowing that the operation was a success, the couple breathed a sigh of relief. Jing Ainen, on the other hand, had lost all his strength and was leaning against the chair with a tearful smile on his face. Mr. and Mrs. Jiang saw that she did not look happy and even complained in their hearts. If she, the biological sister, was compatible with Jiang Lin, they would not have let their precious son suffer that stab. Jiang Wenjing was the first to wake up. When he woke up, he felt pain in his wound. There was a hole in his body, and a part of his body was taken out. How could it not hurt? He was in so much pain that his entire body felt unbearable. Seeing this, Jing Ainen hurriedly asked him if it hurt and if he should call a doctor. Chapter 38:17. After such a big operation, she will definitely be in pain. It will be very painful in the next few days. Tang Guo said, the doctor can only give her some pain relief, but once the effect of the medicine is over, she will still be in pain. When she recovers, she will be fine. Jiang Wenjing didn't want to talk now. He was stabbed for no reason, and he felt very uncomfortable. But thinking of Jiang Lin, he still asked, how is Lin Lin? Lin Lin hasn't woken up yet, but the doctor said that the operation was very successful. Next, we need to observe the rejection. Jing Ainen quickly said, looking at Jiang Wenjing with red eyes, Jing, thanks to you, Lin Lin was saved. Okay, I want to rest. Call me when Lin Lin wakes up. Jiang Wenjing didn't want to talk about this at all. He was stabbed for no reason, even if it was to save Jiang Lin, he still felt uncomfortable. Oh, okay, you have a good rest. I'll see Lin Lin and come back later. Jiang Wenjing looked impatient, but Jing Ainen didn't care at all. The other party sacrificed so much for his sister and endured pain that ordinary people couldn't bear. What was wrong with a little temper? Zheng, what do you want to eat? For the time being, I can only make you a list. When your wound recovers, I will make you something else. Now Jing Ainen wanted to support Jiang Wenjing as if he was an emperor. She would do whatever he said. Jiang Wenjing obviously knew Jing Ainen's character, so he casually said 2 dishes and sent Jing Ainen away. Jing Ainen left happily, of course, to see Jiang Lin. Tang Guo looked at Jing Ainen's back thoughtfully. She thought that if things continued like this, some things might not go as she wanted. Now Jing Ainen seemed to be very grateful to Jiang Wenjing. After this, no matter how Jiang Wenjing treated Jing Ainen in the future, she might endure it without any complaints. This was not the result she wanted. Jiang Wenjing was not only a scumbag, but also a pervert. He had no conscience and deserved to be abandoned by the whole world. How could he get Jing Ainan's wholehearted treatment? The system also saw it. Host, Jing Ainan now loves and is grateful to Jiang Wenjing, and she should have found that Jiang Wenjing's attitude towards Jiang Lin is unusual. At this rate, if Jiang Wenjing proposes to be her husband in name only in the future, Jing Ainan will probably agree. One was his biological sister whom he loved dearly, and he had almost lost her again. The other was the person she liked, who had saved her biological sister's life. With Jing Ainan's temperament, he might even be moved by the true feelings between the two and be willing to give up his position. If it were someone else, they definitely wouldn't be able to bear it, but Jing Ainan was different. He could definitely bear it. I've already thought about it. Let's see how it goes first and let Jiang Wenjing have his way for a while. He hasn't had a surgery yet, has he? Tang Guo had a wicked smile on her lips. Being stabbed once is not enough. For the sake of true love, it's only right to suffer a few more stabs. There was no rush. Take your time. As for Jing Ainan, she already had a plan. If it didn't work out, she would give him a golden millet dream and guarantee that he would understand everything. If unrealized dream couldn't change Jing Ainan's mind, she wasn't afraid. Anyway, with or without Jing Ainan, Jiang Wenjing would not have a good life in this life. During Jiang Wenjing's hospitalization, Tang Guo ran to the hospital from time to time. Chapter 38:18. Everyone in Yi Lian's department was saying that there was such an infatuated person in a wealthy family. Look at Miss Tang, she came to see Jiang Wenjing every day. It could be seen that she was infatuated with him. Why didn't they meet such an infatuated beauty? Yi Lian had a straight face on the surface, but he was silently complaining in his heart. Did Miss Tang really come for Jiang Wenjing? At Jiang Lin's request, Jiang Wenjing was now in the same ward as her. Every time he went to see Jiang Lin's situation, he found that Miss Tang's attitude towards Jiang Wenjing was very cold. They only talked for 1 or 2 sentences, but it was not comparable to her concern for Jiang Lin. Moreover, every time Miss Tang saw a patient, she would leave the ward with him. She would also casually ask him if he wanted to have lunch or something. During the conversation, he did not feel that Miss Tang had any special feelings for Jiang Wenjing. Thinking of this, Yi Lian had already stood up and planned to see how Jiang Lin was doing. Her situation was good a few days ago. What he did not expect was that Jiang Lin recovered so well after receiving Jiang Wenjing's liver. As for the rejection, it was almost negligible. As for Jiang Wenjing, his body was very strong. In a few days, he could be discharged from the hospital. It was not a big problem. As for Jiang Lin, he still needed to observe for a while. After all, there was no reaction in the first few days. There were many cases of patients who had reactions later. When he came to the ward, Yi Lian saw Tang Guo sitting next to Jiang Lin and talking to her. When Tang Guo saw Yi Lian, she stood up and said with a smile, "Dr. Yi is really dutiful. You come every day at this time." Yi Lian's face was tense. He nodded and asked about Jiang Lin's situation first. With the responsibility of a doctor, he asked about Jiang Wenjing's recovery. Jiang Wenjing's current condition was okay. Except for a slight pain in his abdomen, everything else was fine. Anyway, the most difficult days were over. When Yi Lian went out, Tang Guo also said goodbye to Jiang Lin and Jiang Wenjing and followed Yi Lian. Yi Lian silently thought in his heart, I don't know where to go for lunch today. The nearby restaurants are almost done. It's time to change to something new. He thought about it and couldn't help but knock his head. He usually didn't eat much outside, so he really couldn't pick a few good places to eat. Dr. Yi, I'll take my leave first. Tang Guo's voice came into his ears. Yi Lian nodded skillfully and said, "Okay." After that, he asked without thinking, "You're leaving?" After he finished speaking, he turned around and looked at Tang Guo with an expression that seemed to say, "Why did you leave just like that?" His dumbfounded look made Tang Guo laugh uncontrollably. Tang Guo nodded seriously. "The hospital is not a good place. The smell of disinfectant is everywhere. After visiting the patients, I have my own business. Of course, I have to leave. Aren't we having lunch together?" Yi Lian said again. After saying that, he was stunned. He seemed to have gotten used to having lunch with her every day. He looked a little annoyed. How could he get used to this kind of thing? "I still have some things to do today, so I won't be eating with Dr. Yi. If Dr. Yi wants to ask someone out for a meal, you can look for the other doctors in your department." Yi Lian muttered in his heart. He must be crazy to eat at a high-end restaurant with the people in the department. Wasn't that a waste? Wouldn't it be awkward for two men to have a meal in a restaurant? Chapter 38:19. The female doctor in the department was his sister. She had a family and a child. If he dared to ask them out for lunch, there would be some strange rumors in the hospital. Although the doctors faced the separation of life and death every day, in fact, they were all very good at divination. "Dr. Yi, are you okay?" Seeing Yi Lian's blank face, Tang Guo asked. Yi Lian shook his head, "I'm fine." That's a pity. "Miss Tang, take care." After saying that, he felt that something was not right. He subconsciously added, "Then next time when we are free, let's eat together." "Okay." Tang Guo responded and simply turned to leave. She was like a gust of wind that could not be caught. Yi Lian looked at her back and felt a little reluctant to part with her. When Tang Guo's back disappeared, he hurriedly went back inside. On this day, other than when he was working, Yi Lian's mind was filled with thoughts whenever he stopped. He was thinking about Miss Tang, who asked him out for lunch every day. He was so lost in his thoughts that his soul almost left his body. Yi Lian had been waiting in the hospital. He waited and waited, waiting for Tang Guo to ask him out for lunch again one day. However, when Jiang Wenjing was discharged from the hospital, Tang Guo did not ask him out again. When Jiang Lin was discharged from the hospital, she did not ask him out either. Although they met almost every day and left the ward together, he even watched her leave the hospital. But she just did not ask him out for lunch. "Dr. Yi, your rich patient has been discharged from the hospital. Why are you still absent-minded?" The doctor in the same department thought that Yi Lian was worried that Jiang Lin's condition was not good and that she would offend Jiang Wenjing's rich family. But they did not know that it was not that at all. Yi Lian sighed and shook his head. He did not know what to say. Not because of Jiang Lin. "Dr. Yi, what's the matter that's troubling you?" Yi Lian did not know what to say. But he thought that he was not very happy recently, so he told his situation. "You said that Miss Tang asked you out for lunch every day. Because recently, she did not ask you out again. Do you feel strange? Do you feel uncomfortable?" Yi Lian nodded, "Yes." "Do you think that Miss Tang thinks I am annoying, so she does not want to eat with me? Did I eat too much?" "Pfft, ha 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 ha, Dr. Yi, have you never been in a relationship before?" "No, why must I fall in love?" Yi Lian asked. Ever since he was a student, he had been studying his major seriously every day and doing experiments with his tutor. He had never thought about love at all. After becoming a doctor, all he thought about every day was how to come up with a good treatment plan for his patients. So, what is love? It couldn't cure the disease, and it was a waste of time. To be honest, he had already made up his mind to make a contribution to medicine in this lifetime. Whether he was in a relationship or not, whether he was married or not, it didn't matter. Dr. Yi, do you want to eat with Miss Tang every day? A male doctor patted Yi Lian's shoulder with a strange expression. Do you want to? Yi Lian was silent for a second and said, yes. Dr. Yi, if there was a particularly sweet stalk on the tree and you really wanted to eat it, what would you do? Take it off. Then if you want to eat with Miss Tang, you have to take the initiative to ask her out. Dr. Yi, although she is a rich girl, she has taken the initiative to ask you out a few times. It seems that she is interested in you. You can take the initiative next time. Chapter 38:20. Dr. Yi. Tang Guo was not surprised to receive a phone call from Yi Lian. But, when she heard that he wanted to have lunch with her, she found it a little funny. Today? Yes, are you free? I might not be free today. I happen to have something to do today. Tang Guo was not lying. She had indeed been busy recently. Her family's grandfather Tang wanted to train her and arrange another position for her. If she could hold on to her current position, she would have passed the first test. In the original plot, Grandfather Tang had already done this. Regardless of whether his granddaughter had fallen in love with someone she shouldn't have, Tang Corp was a big corporation. If he couldn't handle it in the future, he would have to hand it over to her. It was just that the original owner was tricked by the Jiang family in the middle of her studies and had a falling out with Elder Tang. As a result, when she was wronged by Jiang Wenjing, she did not dare to mention it to him. As the saying goes, you have to taste the bitter fruit you planted. How could the original owner understand? Grandfather Tang was such a big shot. How could he not find out about this? He had been waiting for her to admit defeat. As long as she opened her mouth, he would attack Jiang Wenjing without holding back. Unfortunately, the original owner did not say anything and ended up in her current state. Have you been busy recently? Yi Lian asked. When he heard that Tang Guo was busy, he subconsciously thought it was an excuse. Could it be that she was angry because he never asked her out for lunch? I've been studying at the office, so I have indeed been busy. Then, when you're free, let's meet again. Tang Guo smiled and replied, okay. After hanging up the phone, Yi Lian still felt a little uneasy. Not being able to meet with her made him feel even more uneasy. Could it be this was what the people in the department meant by liking someone? He couldn't help it. The people in the department were all very gossipy. Especially when it came to something like this, it was especially strange to them. Now, everyone knew that he and Miss Tang had an ambiguous relationship. To be honest, when he heard these rumors, he was not angry. Liking someone was indeed an ambiguous relationship. Knowing that Tang Guo was busy, Yi Lian did not force her. In that case, he would meet again in a few days. If he couldn't make an appointment with her, he would find out what she was busy with when he was free. Jiang Wenjing and Jiang Lin were discharged from the hospital one after another. Jiang Wenjing recovered very well. Now there were rumors in the circle that Jiang Wenjing doted on his sister. Mr. and Mrs. Jiang were originally unhappy about this matter, but Jiang Lin was a very good person. In just a few days, she managed to coax the Jiang couple into forgetting about this matter temporarily. They didn't feel that Jiang Lin had done anything wrong. Instead, they felt that it was all Jing Ainen's fault. Jing An was Jiang Lin's biological sister. If it wasn't for the fact that Jing An was not compatible, would her son have been stabbed? In the Jiang family, Jing An's life was very difficult. The Jiang couple did not treat her well, and even the Jiang family's helpers looked down on her. No matter what she did, she couldn't satisfy the Jiang couple. Jiang Lin would occasionally smooth things over. Of course, this smoothing over had to be done with quotation marks. Especially when the Jiang couple were not around, Jiang Lin and Jiang Wenjing were intimately close, which hurt Jing Ainan's eyes. Guessing was one thing, but actually seeing it was another. Jiang Lin often clung to Jiang Wenjing, and her eyes were full of possessiveness. If it were someone else, Jing An would definitely say something. However, this person was his younger sister. Chapter 38-21. Jiang Lin had just been discharged from the hospital. She didn't want to do anything that would irritate her and make her sick again. What made Jing Ainan even more uncomfortable was that Jiang Wenjing was getting colder and colder to her. Sometimes, he would be dragged out to the mall by Jiang Lin and wouldn't take her with him. In front of her so openly, they didn't care about anything at all. A month later, Jing Ainan finally couldn't bear such a life and decided to talk to Jiang Wenjing about it. Zheng, do you like Lin Lin? You don't have to explain. If you really like Lin Lin, let's divorce. I'm too naive. If you don't really like Lin Lin, why would you make such a big sacrifice? From the way Lin Lin looks at you, you must have liked each other for a long time. Although she wasn't particularly smart, she still knew some things. Jiang Wenjing didn't deny it. You can tell. Of course I can. You're so obvious. How can I not see it? In that case, let's divorce. Then you can be with Lin Lin openly. Although she also liked Jiang Wenjing, they were obviously a real loving couple. In front of the person she loved and her closest sister, she chose to give up and let them be together. Just when Jiang Wenjing was about to say something, Jiang Lin suddenly rushed in and threw herself into Jiang Wenjing's arms. She looked at Jing Ainan with a wronged expression. Sister, in fact, brother Zheng and I have always liked each other. I thought I was going to die before, so I left. Later, when I heard that brother Zheng got married, I hurried back, but it was too late. Well, now the truth is out. Then I'll divorce brother Zheng and you can be together. Even though her heart hurt, Jing Ainan still made such a decision. After all, Jiang Lin was her sister. If Jiang Wenjing really liked her, she would definitely not let him. The fact was that Jiang Wenjing might have treated her as Lin Lin's substitute. Although she was a little sad, she had to accept the fact. Sister, brother Zheng and I can't be together openly. Let's not talk about the fact that we're from the same household and can't get a marriage certificate. Besides, the Jiang family is famous. If I marry brother Zheng, I don't know how many people will laugh at me. Jing Ainan looked at Jing Ainan pleadingly. Sister, since you're already married to brother Zheng, why don't we do this? Because you're my biological sister, I don't mind this at all. But in the future, we still need you to help us keep this a secret. Sister, isn't my request too much? Jing Ainan was stunned. He did not expect Jiang Lin to make such a request. I don't have anyone I like now. Brother Zheng and I will never get married. Why don't we do this for the time being? When you find someone you like, when the time is right, you can get a divorce at any time. Moreover, I can't bear to part with you. We just reunited. If you get a divorce, I don't know what attitude I should use to get along with my parents. Sis, don't leave me alone, okay? Under Jiang Lin's persuasion, Jing Ainan's heart softened, and he agreed to be Jiang Wenjing's wife on the surface to cover for them. Jiang Lin was very proud. She knew that Jing Ainan loved Jiang Wenjing very much. Only in this way would Jing Ainan live in pain every day. As long as there were no outsiders, she would stick to Jiang Wenjing every day and let Jing Ainan watch the man she loved dote on another woman. Chapter 38-22. Not long after, Jiang Wenjing made a decision to move out of the Jiang family with Jing Ainan and live in his new villa. Of course, Jiang Lin would come every day. Outsiders thought that Jiang Wenjing moved into the new villa for Jing Ainen and didn't want her to be wronged. What really happened in the villa was that Jing Ainen watched Jiang Wenjing and Jiang Lin being intimate with each other. She was tormented and didn't know what to do. Every time she had the intention to leave, Jiang Lin would cry in front of her, making it impossible for her to harden her heart. Because of the move into the new villa, the relationship between Jing Ainen and the Jiang couple fell to the freezing point. Jing Ainen couldn't do anything about it. He could only endure it. Looking at the person who used to be so gentle to her, who was really meticulous to Jiang Lin, she felt sour in her heart, but she couldn't get close to him. Because she was the replacement, and that person was her sister, she couldn't do anything excessive. Tang Guan knew about the Jiang family's movements. She guessed that Jiang Lin wouldn't be so obedient. Now that the news of moving into the new villa was out, Jing Ainen's reputation of not getting along well with her in-laws was ruined. A woman who had no background, joined a rich family, and didn't get along well with her in-laws would only be laughed at by the ladies in the circle. It was impossible for her to integrate into the circle. Jiang Lin would probably start tormenting Jing Ainen by now. In that villa, Jiang Lin and Jiang Wenjing would probably show off their love in front of Jing Ainen, and maybe even fight in real life. Therefore, Tang Guo planned to ask Jing Ainen out for tea. When she saw Jing Ainen, she thought that she had mistaken her for someone else. Jing Ainen looked haggard, with heavy dark circles under her eyes. Her eyes were full of fatigue, and she was different from the girl who had used all her courage to marry Jiang Wenjing. At that time, Jing Ainen's eyes were bright, and there was a colorful world in them. It was a different kind of wonderful. Right now, Jing Ainen was completely lifeless. It was as if he had lost all signs of life. Perhaps he didn't even know the meaning of life anymore. You don't seem to be living well. Is someone giving you a hard time? Tang Guo asked. Jing Ainen quickly shook her head, nothing. You don't look like you're fine. Tang Guo handed Jing Ainen a mirror. Haven't you looked in the mirror recently? Even if you were embarrassed by the Jiang family, as long as Jiang Wenjing was on your side, your face shouldn't be like this. Whether a person is happy or not can be seen from their eyes. Jing Ainen gently bit her lower lip. She only glanced at herself in the mirror and then looked away. She didn't expect her to look so ugly now. Since you're not living well, why don't you break up? Go back to your old life. Jing Ainen said in a low voice, everyone has their own difficulties. I'm sorry to make Miss Tang unhappy. You don't look like you've had a good rest. It just so happens that I have a special sleeping pill here. Do you want to take one and have a good sleep? You live your own life. As an outsider, I won't meddle in other people's business. Tang Guo took out a transparent glass bottle. There was a pill in it, which looked like an ordinary sleeping pill. Jing Ainen took it and said thank you. Without telling Tang Guo about the situation at home, she said goodbye and left. At night, Jing Ainen listened to the sound from next door. She felt so uncomfortable that she couldn't fall asleep. She suddenly remembered the special sleeping pill Tang Guo gave her during the day. She took it out of her bag and ate it. As soon as she swallowed it, she felt sleepy. She quickly lay down and fell asleep. In the morning, Jiang Wenjing had already gone to the company. Jiang Lin probably got up. If she was surprised, Jing Ainen should have already made breakfast at this time. Sure enough, she went downstairs and saw Jing Ainen sitting at the table waiting for her. Sister, are you waiting for me? Jiang Lin greeted Jing Ainen with a smile as usual. She liked to see Jing Ainen forcing a smile, but in fact, she was in pain. Chapter 38-23. Jing Ainen looked up and smiled gently at Jiang Lin. Lin, you're up. Hurry up and eat. If you don't eat, the food will get cold. Okay. As Jianglin ate, she felt that something was wrong. She quickly looked up and realized that Jing Anan had been staring at her. Sister, what's wrong? Nothing, I just want to see Lin Lin, Jing Anan said. Lin Lin, eat. I just want to see you eat. When I think about how I almost lost you, I'm very scared. Now that I've finally passed the most difficult days, the big stone in my heart has finally been lifted. Jiang Lin couldn't bear to hear Jing Anan talk about sisterhood. Jing Anan was like this, easily swayed. As her sister, as long as she said something casually, she would be able to arouse the other party's sympathy. She said that all these years she had been thinking about the happy days when they were young. Jing Anan would think about all sorts of things, reminisce about the past, and even wipe her tears. She also said that all these years she had been thinking about her sister, Jing Anan, every day. Jing Anan's eyes would also turn red, as if she was about to cry. She didn't know where she got so many tears from. She found it extremely funny. How could there be any sisterhood between them? Since she could remember, she had hoped so much that she was the only one in this world, and Jing Anan didn't exist. When her parents were alive, they always said that she was a mischievous girl in front of others, and that she wasn't as sensible and diligent as Jing Anan. They even said that if they weren't familiar with the two sisters, how could they be twins with such a big difference in personality and appearance? Even in that car accident in her memory, the person her parents cared about the most was her sensible and obedient sister, Jing Anan. They didn't even want to leave her a last word. So, how could there be any sisterhood between them? There was none at all. Everything was just Jing Anan's wishful thinking. She guessed that Jing Anan was a little abnormal today. It was most likely because she was sad to see her and Jiang Wenjing being lovey-dovey every day, so she could only use family to distract herself. She wanted to use this to make herself feel better. She was dreaming. She wouldn't let her have her way. Sister. Jiang Lin called out. Jing Anan slowly looked up and her gaze fell on her face. What's the matter? Sister, I miss Brother Zheng a little. Can you go with me later? When Brother Zheng is done with his work, we can go for dinner and watch a movie together. Speaking of which, it's been a long time since we went out together. Seeing Jing Anan's hesitation, Jiang Lin stood up and sat beside Jing Anan. She kept saying that no matter what, she hoped that Jing Anan would be by her side. Finally, Jing Anan, who had been silent for a while, agreed. All right, I'll go with you. Realizing that Jing Anan was silent, Jiang Lin was in a good mood. After dinner, she went upstairs to put on her makeup and change her clothes. She looked exceptionally happy, as if Jing Anan was really willing to accompany her. Jiang Lin went downstairs and found that Jing Anan was still wearing ordinary clothes. She sneered in her heart. Jing Anan was still a little self-aware. She knew that no matter how she dressed up, she couldn't get Jiang Wenjing's heart. They had made it clear that Jiang Wenjing was Jiang Lin's man, and Jing Anan had no right to touch him. This woman was really stupid. The man she married was actually her younger sister's. She didn't even dare to think about it. Just thinking about it made her feel very happy. Chapter 38-24. When they went to Jiang Wenjing's office, Jing Anan sat on one side while Jiang Lin sat beside Jiang Wenjing intimately. Those who didn't know would think that Jiang Lin accompanied Jing Anan to see Jiang Wenjing, and that Jiang Wenjing and her were very loving. In particular, Jiang Lin had been clinging to Jiang Wenjing all morning and even made him cancel 2 meetings. It felt like a demon concubine, a king who misled the court. When did Jiang Lin want to stick to Jiang Wenjing like this? It was rare for Jiang Wenjing to see Jiang Lin like this, so he thought that it was fine to delay it for a day. Besides, the two meetings weren't important. There was nothing important at hand for the time being. The people in the company weren't idle, so they could just ask someone to deal with it. But the people in the company all felt that Jiang Wenjing loved Jing Anan more than the company. Originally, Jing Anan, a commoner girl with no background, married into a rich family, which made people feel dissatisfied and envious. Jing Anan wasn't the kind of person who would amaze people. Many people really didn't understand what she did to make Jiang Wenjing so obsessed. I really don't know what kind of luck she has to be able to become our president's wife. In the assistant's office, there were already people talking about it. I won't admit that she's our president's wife. See, with her submissive appearance, how can she be worthy of President Jiang? Another female assistant said, to be honest, I'm very curious. What method did she use to make our President Jiang like her? Needless to say, it must be some kind of seductive trick. Now that she's found the office, he cancelled 2 meetings. CEO Jiang even cancelled 2 meetings because of her. Do you think they will do something in the office? What are you thinking? That's President Jiang, President Jiang. At this point, a female assistant paused for a moment. Who knows, what if he's really doing something? Curious? If you're curious, go and take a peek. Maybe you'll find a big secret. By the way, Sister Xiaoyang, aren't you the most concerned about President Jiang? Previously, you said that if Jing Anan can be promoted, you can be promoted. You're also the best-looking one here. After so many years, President Jiang hasn't even looked at you. Do you feel particularly unsatisfied? The female assistant named Xiaoyang was indeed the prettiest in the entire assistant office. His eyes, in particular, were filled with ambition. But when she thought that Jiang Wenjing had married Jing Anan, her face was full of anger. If Jiang Wenjing married the daughter of the Tang family, she wouldn't think about it. They were a perfect match for each other. But what right did Jing Anan have to be the president's wife? Don't fold it, the lipstick is going to break. Speaking of which, are you really not going to take a look? Don't you have some documents in your hands that you wanted to show to Director Jiang? Let's go and see what's going on in the office. Xiaoyang quickly looked at her lipstick. Fortunately, it was still there. This was her new limited edition lipstick. She looked at herself in the mirror and said disdainfully, "Is there something wrong with your brains? Miss Jiang is here. What could happen in the office?" "Oh. That's right. We were thinking too much." The female assistants all said, but they didn't look embarrassed at all. Obviously, they were just guessing. It wasn't that they didn't think of this, but they just wanted someone to see what happened in Jiang Wenjing's office. Chapter 38-25. Fortunately, Sister Yang reminded us. Otherwise, we would have made a mistake. Sigh, it's fine if Mr. Jiang doesn't want to be with Miss Tang, but Jing Anan? In my opinion, Sister Yang is prettier than Jing Anan. She's much more elegant and has seen many big occasions. It's said that no matter what party Jing Anan attends, no one talks to her. Those rich young ladies and madams all ignore her. Don't you think it's embarrassing? Our Sister Yang is different. Among all the assistants, she is the most outstanding one. She is trusted by Mr. Jiang. She has attended so many high-level parties and can talk to some of the rich young ladies. Really, Mrs. Jiang can't even compare to our Sister Yang. I really don't know what she can do to make Mr. Jiang delay his work. Yang glanced at these women indifferently and found the documents she was going to show to Jiang Wenjing. Okay, stop flattering me. I know you are curious, so I'll reluctantly go and have a look. She also wanted to see what method Jing Anan had used to make Mr. Jiang delay his work. There had never been such a case before. When Yang knocked on the office door and said that there were a few urgent documents that she needed Jiang Wenjing to see, she stood at the door with her heart beating fast. She was ready to be scolded. After all, it was like that on TV. If she disturbed the Mr. President, she would definitely be scolded. The reason why she took the risk to come was to let the commoner Mrs. Jiang know how sinful it was to disturb the Mr. President's work. Because the office door was locked, she couldn't enter even if she had Jiang Wenjing's permission. What she didn't expect was that when the door opened, the person she saw was Jing Anan. What surprised her even more was that Jing Anan's eyes were red and wet. As if she had noticed her gaze, Jing Anan quickly turned around and sat back in her original position. When she looked up again, Jing Anan's eyes had returned to normal. There were no traces of tears in them. However, the previous glance made Yang pay more attention to Jing Anan. She found that her eyes were full of resentment. But if she looked at her more, Jing Anan would shift her gaze elsewhere. However, she could still see a faint sadness in him. Strange. After marrying President Jiang and becoming the president's wife, why did she act like a resentful wife, as if life was not going well? Even if it was because of the Jiang family's parents and the outside world looking down on her, she should be very happy in front of Director Jiang. While sending the documents to Jiang Wenjing, Xiao Yang kept looking at Jing Anan from the corner of his eyes. The faint sadness on Jing Anan could not be erased. The more Yang thought about it, the more he felt that something was amiss. Could it be that they had a conflict? Brother Zheng, you're working so hard every day. You have to deal with so many documents, Jiang Lin said, attracting Yang's attention. Only then did Yang realize that Jiang Lin was sitting next to Jiang Wenjing. It was strange that Jing Anan was sitting so far away. Even if Jiang Lin and Jiang Wenjing were siblings, the way they sat was too strange. Of course, she was just an assistant. Even if she usually showed off, she still had to be honest in front of Jiang Wenjing. She didn't dare to say anything, so as not to annoy him. Therefore, no matter what Jiang Lin said, she would only listen and not say a word. This was the awareness of working for Jiang Wenjing. Chapter 38-26. If she wanted to stay for a long time, she shouldn't show her insensible side in front of Mr. Jiang. She should just obey him. Over the years, many assistants had seduced Jiang Wenjing. Although she also had this idea, she wasn't stupid enough to seduce him so obviously. For a man like Jiang Wenjing, it was impossible to seduce him with the most inferior means. Since it didn't work, it was better to pretend to be a conscientious assistant. This way, at least in front of him, she could have some say. Sure enough, she was on the right path. Even if she couldn't be the first secretary, it was still possible to be the second secretary. She couldn't get him, but she wanted to be the most capable assistant by Mr. Jiang's side. Even Mrs. Jiang had to be polite to her when she saw her in the future. Brother Zheng, I have something to tell you. Jiang Lin smiled and hugged Jiang Wenjing's arm. This seemed to be a very natural action between the two siblings. Even Xiao Yang didn't find anything wrong. After all, Jiang Lin and Jiang Wenjing were very close. Jiang Wenjing stopped reading the documents and asked, "What's the matter? What do you think if I work in the company? After being sick, I know what it means to be a cripple. I don't want to do the same job as before. I don't know how to go to work. I only know how to buy things every day and always give you trouble. Seeing you so busy today, I feel very guilty, so can I work in the company? Maybe I can help you." Lin, it's good that you have this idea, but work is very hard. I'm worried about your body. If my body can't take it, I definitely won't force it. I just want to prove myself. Jiang Wenjing was a little touched and agreed. Jiang Lin looked at Jing Anan, who was sitting far away and had been silent. She stood up and ran to Jing Ain's side. Sister, can you work in the company with me? If you work with me, I will be able to quickly familiarize myself with this unfamiliar environment. And didn't you say before that you want to go out to work? It's better to work here than elsewhere. It's great that we can still be together. Jiang Lin saw that Jing Ainn didn't respond, so she turned to Jiang Wenjing and said, Brother Ah Jing, what do you think? I really hope that sister can be with me. That way, both of us sisters will be in the same place. I also want to help Brother Ah Jing. I don't want to be a useless person, but I can't bear to leave sister. Why don't you come to work, An? You're still not familiar with the company's situation, so you two sisters can take care of each other. Okay, then I'll come to work in the company. Jing Ainn said, so, are we starting from the bottom, or? Jiang Lin narrowed her eyes. Let's start from the bottom. We're here to work seriously, not to enjoy life. Of course, we have to do practical things. I don't want to become a good-for-nothing. Elder sister also doesn't want me to become someone who only knows how to eat and drink, right? And I know you, sister. You don't want to come to the company to drink tea. Jing Ainn still nodded and agreed to this matter. On the third day, Jing Ainn and Jiang Lin started working. In order to torment Jing Ainn, Jiang Lin chose to enter the company's marketing department. Of course, it was tough to be at the bottom of the marketing department. Without some connections, it was really not easy to get started. Fortunately, with their status, even if they didn't have any business, they wouldn't be chased away. Jiang Lin saw how clumsy Jing Ainn was and found it funny. She pretended not to know anything. When Jing Ainn was especially busy, there were all kinds of problems for her to solve. Chapter 38:27. Jing Ainn was so busy that she lost a lot of weight. Jiang Lin, on the other hand, felt much better. Occasionally, she would say that she was not feeling well and go to Jiang Wenjing's office to look for her. If she wanted to go up, who would dare to stop her? Jing Ainn would never say anything to her. If she had something to do, she would probably help her finish it. In the end, just as Jiang Lin had expected, Jing Ainn not only completed his own project, but also completed hers. Gradually, Jing Ainn got the business and became busier every day. She had to face some of the company's cynicism and difficulties from customers. From time to time, she would be called to Jiang Wenjing's office by Jiang Lin, who said that she shared desserts with her and felt that she had worked hard. Then, Jing Ainn sat aside and ate desserts, listening to Jiang Lin and Jiang Wenjing show off their love. Jiang Lin looked at Jing Ainn, who was silent and only buried her head. She could imagine how painful it was for her, and her heart ached even more. Assistant Xiao Yang, who had been observing all of this, cursed in her heart, as if she had discovered a huge secret. She was not sure about many things, but one thing she was sure of was that Jiang Wenjing did not love Jing Ainn. At first, she was very happy with this discovery and even secretly mocked Jing Ainn several times. Later, Jing Ainn did not refute or say anything harsh. She just endured it, and she lost interest. The main thing was that she found that Jing Ainn was not liked by Jiang Wenjing, so she was not so jealous. On the contrary, Jiang Wenjing's love for his sister, Jiang Lin, made her speechless. Jing Ainn had been living a hard life recently. Compared to before, she had lost a lot of weight. However, no one noticed that Jing Ainn, who was silent in front of the company and buried her head in everything she did, had a different look in her eyes. When she lowered her head, her eyes were full of ice and frost. When she raised her head, she looked aggrieved. In front of the customers, she had gone from stumbling to being calm and natural. She was very trusted by the customers. Unknowingly, under Jiang Lin's difficulties, Jing Ainn had accumulated a lot of connections for herself. But in front of Jiang Lin and Jiang Wenjing, Jing Anan was no different from before. Although she had made some achievements in business, Jiang Lin did not think highly of her. Jiang Lin thought that those clients only agreed because Jing Anan was Jiang Wenjing's wife in name. As for the business, Jiang Lin didn't bother Jing Anan. She still had a sense of propriety and didn't want to leave a bad impression on Jiang Wenjing. Moreover, Jing Anan had signed a prenuptial agreement. No matter how much she helped the company, everything in the Jiang family did not belong to her. After work, Jing Anan still had to prepare delicious food for Jing Anan, as if he was used to all this. "Sis, you're so nice to me. It's my favorite seafood again." Jing Anan was wearing an apron and busying himself in the kitchen. He turned around and glanced at Jiang Lin, who was standing at the door with no intention of coming over to help. He didn't mind. "I know how to cook whatever you like. I'll cook seafood for you every night in a different way. After the seafood, there are desserts and cold drinks, all of which are your favorite. I've tried a few new dishes recently. Sister, if it weren't for you, how could I live such a happy life? I'm really grateful to you for being able to live and be with Brother Aojing openly. After all, you're my sister. If I don't treat you well, who should I treat well? The dishes are almost ready. Eat more later." Chapter 38-28. At the dinner table, Jiang Lin found that Jing Anan didn't eat much, so she asked, "Sister, aren't you eating? The weather is too hot, so I don't have a good appetite, especially at night. I'll just have some porridge." Jiang Lin didn't care about that. She liked seafood very much, so it was none of her business if Jing Anan couldn't eat it. After dinner, Jiang Lin had desserts and cold drinks. She felt that her life was very comfortable now. She wanted this feeling where Jing Anan had to treat her well even though she was upset. Brother Aojing still has a business meeting tonight. I don't know when he'll be back. Sister, you go to sleep first. I'll wait for Brother Aojing to come back so we can sleep together. Yes, Jiang Lin reminded Jing Anan every moment that she was the one who was with Jiang Wenjing. She even pretended to be innocent, so no one could find fault with her. Jing Anan must be so upset that she couldn't sleep at night again. Okay, then go to sleep early. Jing Anan returned to her room like a robot and happily turned on the TV. She leaned on the sofa and watched. At this time, Jing Anan said, "There's your favorite desserts and cold drinks in the fridge. You can eat them when you're hungry." Okay. Jiang Lin's lips moved and she muttered softly. She was destined to be a nanny. Her brain didn't seem to be very good, but she still worked hard without complaint. Late at night, Jing Anan stood in a dark corner and watched Jiang Lin eat one popsicle after another. He lowered his head silently with a faint smile on his face. Jiang Lin thought that she didn't gain weight. With a nanny ordering her around every day, she could eat freely. She really didn't gain weight, so she was even more relieved. You said that other than going to work, Jing Anan came back to cook all kinds of delicious food for Jiang Lin, especially seafood, desserts, and cold drinks? Dear host, has your pipe dream expired? The system said strangely. However, I keep feeling that something is wrong. Anyway, I can roughly see that her whereabouts are covered up. However, there's one thing worth noting. Jing Anan got the business quite quickly. Although she stumbled at the beginning, she was always able to move the client and get them to agree to sign the contract. My dear host, you have great foresight. Those that you have taken a liking to are at least outstanding in some aspect. Then give me a list of Jiang Lin's food. I want to see what Jing Anan made for her. Upon hearing this, the system's data jumped wildly. Dear host, did you discover something? I have a guess. Based on your description, Jing Ainan's reaction was too calm, but I can be sure that a pipe dream didn't fail. So why didn't she have any reaction? Do you think the medicine has lost its effect, or is she hiding herself too well? Tang Guo sighed softly. In the plot, Jing An was kidnapped by Jiang Lin's kinship and had been deceived. Her days were miserable. Jiang Lin and Jiang Wenjing had used her soft-heartedness to hurt her countless times. After the original owner died, I still don't know what Jing An experienced. If the medicine hasn't expired, then there's only one possibility. She wants to do something big. Unknowingly, it's like a slow-acting poison, invading someone's body. It's only waiting for the final blow to destroy everything. In Jing An's heart, she's a small and weak ant, while Jiang Wenjing is a huge and sturdy castle. The ant has already understood that she can't fight with the castle head-on. She can only bite the foundation of the castle bit by bit. She doesn't bite just one place, but every part of the foundation. She bites until the bottom is full of holes. Even if the castle looks intact, as long as there's a little water, a little wind, a little earthquake, the castle will collapse. Dear host, I understand. 1 week later, I will give you a list of all the recipes that Jiang Lin eats. The system felt a little cold. The host said that Jing An is doing something big. Women are really scary. A week later, Tang Guo looked at Jiang Lin's recipe, and the corners of her mouth curved into a smile. Chapter 38-29. Sure enough, there are a lot of cold foods. Although there are other combinations, according to the records, Jiang Lin will only choose what she likes to eat. There are also so many sweets, almost every meal. What a good idea. So, she doesn't even touch the food that neutralizes these cold foods. Jing An plans to let Jiang Lin get kidney disease as soon as possible so that Jiang Wenjing can be stabbed. No wonder she secretly made Jiang Wenjing's favorite food. But Jiang Wenjing doesn't eat much and often goes out to socialize, so there won't be any big problems. Anyway, no matter what, Jing An and Jiang Wenjing have to be stabbed again, right? That's right. Since Jing An could do such a big thing so decisively, Tang Guo decided not to do it herself. She let Jing An do it. She was thinking about what would happen if Jiang Lin and Jiang Wenjing had surgery in the future. Their bodies would definitely not be as good as before, and the Jiang family would be finished. However, Jing An had signed a prenuptial agreement. It wouldn't be easy for an ant to touch an elephant with the Jiang couple around. If Jing An didn't have a good idea, she would have to destroy the Jiang family. Then, she would let Jing An take revenge on Jiang Wenjing and Jiang Lin, and she would wait to destroy the Jiang family. Things hadn't reached that day yet, and she didn't know what would happen. She also didn't know what Jing An was planning. As for having a showdown with Jing An, she wasn't interested. Then, she would just sit and wait. Although Tang Guo didn't plan to have a showdown with Jing An, since she slowly started to manage the Tang group, she arranged for some of the business staff to contact Jing An. Of course, whether they cooperated or not depended on whether Jing An had the ability to satisfy them. The business staff basically contacted Jing An with a skeptical attitude. Later, they really signed a contract with Jing An and came back to say a lot of good things about Jing An to Tang Guo. Unknowingly, Jing An went from a small salesperson to the position of business manager. According to the rules of the Jiang family, he also had a certain percentage of shares, although it was very small. But in front of Jiang Lin, Jing An would say that these people were probably doing it because she was Mrs. Jiang. Jiang Lin believed it and didn't think Jing An had any ability at all. If Jing An was really a small salesperson without any background, how could those companies look at Jing An? Wasn't it because of the Jiang family's reputation that they were willing to cooperate with him? When An became the business manager, Jiang Lin was also promoted. Because of her physical discomfort in business, she had mentioned to Jiang Wenjing a long time ago. Even Jing and suggested that it was better for her to stay in the office. Therefore, Jiang Lin was also a manager in the company now, but she usually had nothing to do. In any case, she was the young lady of the Jiang family. There were many people who fawned on her. Her subordinates could do everything for her perfectly. She didn't need to worry about anything. She watched Jing Anan run here and there every day. Not only did he become thin, but he also became a lot darker. When he returned home, he was busy cooking. She felt especially happy. As for whether Jing Anan had negotiated some business deal, she didn't care at all. Even if Jing Anan really had that little bit of ability, others could only see Jing Anan's glory, but she could see Jing Anan's unknown side, which was unbearably painful. It was not the first time she had seen Jing Anan staring at Jiang Wenjing with a pair of affectionate and reluctant eyes. That kind of feeling was what she wanted. Chapter 38:30. She even guessed that Jing Anan worked so hard because she didn't want to think about those things. Even if she didn't want to, she would make Jing Anan face it countless times a day. In the afternoon, Jiang Lin called Jing Anan again. "Sis, are you done with your work? It's already noon. It's time to eat. I'm having lunch with a client. I might not be able to come back this afternoon. I can't eat with you." Jing Anan's voice came from the other side. "I see. Then come back when you're done. I'll leave you dessert. I'll wait for you in Brother Zhang's office." "Okay." After Jiang Lin hung up the phone, Jing Anan put away her phone and smiled apologetically at the person on the other side. "Sorry to keep you waiting." "It's okay. We don't have to be so distant. It's just that I didn't expect you to change so much. Even in my dreams, I didn't think that the timid and introverted little girl would be my partner this time." This time, Jing Anan's partner was actually Ming Huan. Jing Anan looked at the person in front of her and couldn't bear to see his focused eyes. She quickly looked away. "You must be hungry. Eat first. We'll talk about other things after eating. Whether it's catching up or talking about business, we have to fill our stomachs." "You're right. Eat first. You must be hungry too." During the meal, Ming Huan's eyes were on Jing Anan. Jing Anan pretended not to notice that kind of gaze, but Ming Huan's eyes were too serious. Many times she wanted to burst into tears, but she quickly held them back. She could only pretend that the dishes were too spicy, so spicy that some tears came out. "If you can't take the spicy food, order something else." Ming Huan looked at Jing Anan and quickly poured her water. Jing Anan shook her head. "I like it." Ming Huan liked spicy food, so today's dishes were ordered according to his taste. He wondered if Jing Anan ordered all the dishes he liked because they were going to cooperate this time. "Is it really okay?" "Yes. It's a little spicy, but it tastes good. I heard that you're married. You're Jiang Wenjing's wife now?" Ming Huan asked casually, but he saw Jing Anan's body stiffen. Although she recovered quickly, he still noticed it. "Yes. Since you're already the wife of the Jiang family, why do you still have to work so hard? We can't just sit around and eat. Although Madame Jiang doesn't have to worry about food and drink, what if one day she's no longer Madame Jiang?" Ming Huan was stunned and asked casually, "Are you having a hard time?" The life of a wealthy family is not as simple as you think. Although the outside world was saying how much Jiang Wenjing doted on his wife, he didn't think that his behavior was really doting on Jing Anan. Instead, it was pushing her to the fire to roast. Most people would be burnt to a crisp in that place sooner or later. I'm doing fine. I'm doing pretty well. What about you? How are you doing? We haven't seen each other in years. You went abroad to study in the second year of high school. It's been 6 or 7 years since we last met. Jing Ainen's voice suddenly became softer. How old is the child? When Ming Huan heard this, he suddenly laughed. He doesn't even have a girlfriend. How can he have a child? Back then, he had pursued Jing Ainen, but she had rejected him on the grounds that their identities did not match. She had also refused him to take her abroad to further her studies. He regretted it now. If he had worked harder at that time, or if he hadn't been in a hurry to leave the country and stayed, it might have been a different ending. Chapter 38-31. When Jing Ainen heard this, the stone pressing down on his heart loosened a little. She didn't dare to keep looking at Ming Huan. His smile was too bright. If she looked at him for too long, she might not be able to help but hug him. She couldn't do that, at least not now. She had more important things to do. She wanted to take revenge on Jiang Lin and Jiang Wenjing. She wanted them to live in pain for the rest of their lives. She wanted to avenge 5 people. The first was for herself, the second was for Ming Huan, the third was for Miss Tang, who had once saved her, the fourth was for her unborn child, and the fifth was for the child who had not lived a single good day because of what had happened to her. The child who had grown up with difficulties. Because of Jiang Lin, Jiang Wenjing hurt her and played with her feelings at will. He asked her to cut out her liver, abort her child, cut out a kidney, and finally treated her like a puppet. Because Ming Huan helped her, Jiang Wenjing was jealous. He broke Ming Huan's legs and face, and even caused his company to go bankrupt. A sunny and beautiful person was destroyed just like that. Because Miss Tang sympathized with her, she took her away from that hellish place. Therefore, Jiang Wenjing cruelly found many men to humiliate Miss Tang and even sold her to that dark place to be tortured to death. How did she know? It was all because of that crazy Jiang Wenjing who showed her those videos. She could only helplessly watch Miss Tang die. Jiang Wenjing also told her that as long as she dared to run, no matter who dared to save her, he wouldn't hurt her, but he would make those people suffer. Later, she didn't dare to run anymore. Jiang Wenjing was a devil, a pervert. Although many things were a little different now, it didn't mean that she would forget the hatred deeply imprinted in her mind. The wounds from the heart could never be healed. Although Jing Ainen was restraining herself, Ming Huan was a subtle person. He felt something, but he didn't expose it. There were some things that he would slowly figure out what was going on. After the two cooperated this time, Ming Huan occasionally sent a message to say hello. It wasn't any ambiguous words, but genuine concern. Unlike Jing Ainen, who had once fallen in love, Jing Ainen would read Ming Huan's message over and over again. He would only reply seriously after pondering over it. Tang Guo found out about Jing Ainen and Ming Huan's contact from the system. She was not surprised at all. She was not surprised by Jing Ainen's attitude towards Ming Huan. She even had a brilliant idea. Jing Ainen didn't seem to reject Ming Huan. From the information given by the system and the storyline, Jing Ainen should like a sunny person like Ming Huan. Judging from Jing Ainen's attitude towards Ming Huan, it wasn't impossible for the two of them to continue their relationship. If the Jiang family could no longer hold on in the future, Jing Ainen would take control of the Jiang family, marry Ming Huan, and have children. Everything would be perfect. What do you think? Host, your thoughts are very good. I just don't know what they are thinking. The system complained to itself that the host was indeed very bad. It even suspected that before the host finished speaking, Jiang Wenjing would be lying in the hospital bed, watching Jing Anan and Ming Huan's family being lovey-dovey. Everything in the Jiang family would fall into their hands, but they couldn't do anything about it. Just thinking about it made it very happy. What they think depends on how they go. I can't control other people's feelings. That's right, Madam Host. You should take care of yourself. Chapter 38-32. Dr. Yi is on leave today. He'll probably ask you out for a meal again. You two have been going out for so long. Why haven't you made any progress? Isn't this good? Dr. Yi must think it's good too. Don't ask for too much. System, Dr. Yi with low EQ is done for this time. The guard could only stare blankly. Sure enough, Tang Guo received a call from Yi Lian when it was almost 12 o'clock. Am I bothering you? Miss Tang. No, Dr. Yi. What's the matter? Let's eat. I'm on leave today and happened to pass by your company. Why don't we go out for a meal together? I see. Okay, I'm not busy anyway. Let's go eat. Tang Guo saw Yi Lian and found that he was holding a bouquet of flowers. Yi Lian handed the flowers to her and said, "A little girl selling flowers passed by just now. I thought she was pitiful, so I bought them all. You should like them since they're so pretty. It's not appropriate to have these in my house." Tang Guo took the flowers and looked at the big sun in the sky. The little girl selling flowers outside under such a big sun probably didn't sell them. She didn't intend to expose him, as if she agreed with Yi Lian. Then, the two went to the restaurant to eat. Yi Lian had booked the seats early in the morning. After all, there were still a lot of seats at this time. After eating for a while, a familiar voice suddenly appeared in her ear. "Miss Tang, Dr. Yi, are you here for a meal too?" Jing Anan came with Ming Huan. It was Ming Huan who asked her to have a meal with him on the pretext of business. They talked about the meal while eating. Jing Anan didn't refuse. She could refuse many people now, but she didn't want to refuse Ming Huan. She tried not to think about this person. She didn't even want to disturb him for fear of bringing danger to him. But Ming Huan's persistence and the happy time in her memory made her unable to let go. Now everything was different. She had missed it once. Why couldn't she take the initiative to grab the one she liked? Therefore, she didn't refuse. However, she was only in business with Ming Huan for the time being. She believed that her attitude would make Ming Huan feel something. She knew Ming Huan very well. If he knew the truth, he wouldn't give up. At first, she wanted to avoid Ming Huan and protect him. Later, she wanted to get close to Ming Huan. Why should she avoid him? Wouldn't it be better to let the other party sit on Jiang Wenjing's empire with him? This was all Jiang Wenjing's fault. He owed them and deserved it. Recently, she had stopped calling Tang Guo. She just didn't know how to face her. She thought about it for a long time and finally decided that Miss Tang was the one who had changed everything and had the ability to change everything. She and Jiang Lin did not match. Was this something an ordinary person could do? Among the few people she had approached, the only one who could do something to her was Miss Tang. Only Miss Tang had the ability to match Jiang Wenjing and Jiang Lin. Don't forget, it was Miss Tang who suggested that Jiang Wenjing do the matching. It was such a coincidence every time. It could only mean that the person who changed everything was most likely Miss Tang. Why did she have that dream? It was equivalent to replaying her entire life in her mind. Was it because of Miss Tang's special sleeping pills? Miss Tang must have realized that because of Jiang Wenjing's sacrifice for Jiang Lin, she was very grateful to Jiang Wenjing and doted on Jiang Lin, her younger sister. She must have thought that she was a little stupid. She didn't even know that she was almost sold. Chapter 38-33. That's why he gave her that incomparably precious pill, right? Yes, such a pill could remember a tragic life. How could it not be precious? System, you guessed wrong. This thing is rotten in the hands of the host. Brother Ziyun has helped make many versions and upgraded it several times. Jing Ainen thought that Miss Tang pretended not to know and did not intend to expose herself. Most likely, she thought she was too stupid and easily ruined things. Since Miss Tang pretended not to know anything, she could only cooperate. Miss Tang gave her the pill, which was enough. Next, she would leave it to her. She would make Jiang Wenjing live a life worse than death and take revenge for all of them. As for Miss Tang, Jing Ainen glanced at the handsome Dr. Yi. This doctor was good. If Miss Tang could like another man, of course, it would be good. How could Jiang Wenjing be worthy of such a good person? Matching Jiang Wenjing with a sow was an insult to the sow. It was too cruel to the sow. Miss Jing, no, it should be Mrs. Jiang. Tang Guo smiled and nodded. Are you here for dinner today? Miss Tang, don't call me Mrs. Jiang. I prefer Miss Jing. It sounds younger. By the way, this is my friend Ming Huan. Jing Ainen introduced Ming Huan like this. After Ming Huan heard this, he was a little surprised. After all, whenever Jing Ainen met someone he was familiar with, he would tell them that this was Mr. Ming Huan and introduce him politely. From this introduction, Ming Huan understood that Jing Ainen treated Miss Tang differently. The two didn't seem to have a good relationship, but Jing Ainen seemed to trust Miss Tang very much. He had been abroad before, so he wasn't clear about the relationship here. However, he had heard that the Tang group had a Miss Tang, but he didn't know if it was her. Miss Tang, I've been busy with work before and didn't have time to treat you to a meal to thank you, Jing Ainen said. Since the last time I took the special sleeping pills from Miss Tang, I slept very well every day and didn't have insomnia anymore. And I also understand that even if I'm Mrs. Jiang, I can't stay at home every day. I still have something to do. I can see that you've changed a lot. You've lost a lot of weight and become more tanned, but you're more energetic. In short, your appearance hasn't decreased. Ming Huan muttered in his heart. She was still so good-looking. Her skin was slightly darker, but she looked healthier. In the past, it was as if a gust of wind could blow Jing Ainen away. Although the current Jing Ainen was thinner and her skin was not as white, he could feel that her entire body was filled with strength, so he would not always be worried. This kind of growth made him very happy. At the same time, he couldn't help but wonder what kind of hardships Jing Ainen had gone through in the past. He felt a little heartache. Sorry to disturb Miss Tang and Dr. Ye's date. Jing Ainen added, you guys take your time. Ming Huan and I will eat over there. Miss Tang, I'll treat you to a meal next time. As for other things, Jing Ainen didn't intend to say anything more. Miss Tang didn't mention it, obviously she didn't want to talk about it. Then, she would proceed according to her original plan. Alright, it's getting late. You guys must be hungry. Let's eat first. Seeing Jing Ainen in this state and eating alone with Ming Huan, Tang Guo felt like eating a melon in her heart. Just as she had guessed, Jing Ainen wanted to continue his relationship with Ming Huan. According to what Jing Ainen said just now, she would invite Ming Huan to take over the Jiang group with her. This was really good news. She had to eat 2 more bowls of rice. Chapter 38-34. As Ming Huan heard more news, he knew that Jing Ainen was in a bad situation. But he would never have thought that Jiang Wenjing did not love Jing Anan, and that everything he did in Jing Anan's name was for another woman. Ming Huan did not think of this, but he felt that Jing Anan was not doing well and wanted to help her. She was already married and they were not fated to be together. But in terms of business, he could still give Jing Anan some benefits. What made him happy was that Jing Anan did not refuse. But to be honest, Jing Anan was really good at business. As they worked together again and again, Ming Huan felt that Jing Anan deserved it. Ming Huan was the young master of the Ming family and also the heir of the Ming family. Of course, he would be present at some of the upper-class gatherings. This time, he experienced firsthand how the socialites and madams in this circle ostracized and neglected Jing Anan. Compared to Jiang Lin, who was more popular, Jing Anan's seat was more deserted. Jing Anan was now Mrs. Jiang. As the young master of the Ming family, he really could not go to Jing Anan's side at this time. Otherwise, who knew what kind of rumors those people would spread? Even though in his heart, he really hoped that the rumors that might spread would come true. He did not want to bring harm to Jing Anan because he could not control himself. According to Jing Anan's current business ability, she only had a little reputation in the company. She was in contact with quite a lot of people in the company, but many of the people in the company were not qualified to attend such gatherings. Therefore, it was normal for Jing Anan to continue to be neglected. Jing Anan did not want to be in the limelight at this time, in case Jiang Lin made trouble for her. This time, Tang Guo also came to this gathering. When Tang Guo came, Jiang Lin's limelight was basically gone. Countless socialites came to talk to Tang Guo. Tang Guo reluctantly said a few words and chatted with Jiang Lin, making people feel that she was more familiar with Jiang Lin. Tang Guo didn't go to Jing Anan, but when no one was paying attention, she nodded to him. At this time, she did not want Jing Anan to be in the limelight. Jing Anan breathed a sigh of relief. She was afraid that Miss Tang would come over to talk to her. At that time, those socialites would smell something terrible, which would affect her plan. Jiang Lin liked to see her being ignored and bullied, so she had to do what the other party wanted. Of course, all this was seen by Ming Huan. He suddenly felt that it was very interesting. In fact, he felt that Jing Anan was hiding something from him. He really wanted to figure it out, but he didn't dare to ask her what was going on. In the end, after Tang Guo dealt with the socialites, she found a quiet place to sit down. Ming Huan felt that the opportunity had come, so he took the wine glass and went over to talk to Tang Guo. When those people saw the two of them talking, they tactfully didn't come over to say anything. However, many people were whispering that Tang Guo did not seem to have that kind of interest in Jiang Wenjing now. Perhaps this young master of the Ming family, who had just returned to China, had a chance to attract her. After all, the two of them were quite compatible in terms of appearance and family background. Jiang Wenjing, who was talking to people from time to time, felt inexplicably uncomfortable when he saw all this. Of course, when Jiang Lin came to his side, he put this matter to the back of his mind. No matter what others were thinking, Ming Huan and Tang Guo had already started to talk. Chapter 38-35. Miss Tang seems to be more familiar with An. Not bad. Tang Guo glanced at Ming Huan and whispered, Master Ming seems to care about Miss Jing a lot. Ming Huan smiled calmly and nodded. Yes, but I seem to have missed it. There was some regret on his face. However, I feel that she is actually unhappy. I always feel that she has some secrets, but I don't dare to disturb her. Master Ming, why are you telling me this? Do you think that I know her secrets? Ming Huan said, I feel that An seems to trust Miss Tang a lot, and Miss Tang is the only woman here who doesn't exclude An and is full of kindness to her. I have been abroad all these years and don't know the situation here. I do want to know more from Miss Tang. What do you want to know? I want to know why An is unhappy. I think it's not just about the rich and powerful. Ming Huan whispered. Also, I found that Jiang Wenjing doesn't seem to love An as much as I imagined. A man knows best how a man likes a woman. On the surface, it seems that he cares a little, but after thinking about it carefully, he doesn't care that much. Many people are saying that An married for love. Why don't I believe it? Did someone lie to me, or am I thinking too much? I don't know what Master Ming is asking about. Tang Gua took a sip of wine. However, no matter what the truth is, you need to identify it yourself. Wait patiently and stick to your own thoughts. Maybe one day you will know the truth. What's the point of thinking so much? Just stick to your heart. It seems so. Ming Huan smiled. Although I can't be with An, I can help her in other ways. I hope she needs it. Tang Gua didn't say anything. Ming Huan also didn't say anything. Jing An saw the two chatting and didn't think much of it. According to her understanding of Ming Huan, he was most likely worried about her. Forgive her, there were some things that couldn't be told to others. In fact, she didn't want Ming Huan to be involved. Host, Dr. Yi is here. The system's reminder attracted Tang Gua's attention. Sure enough, she saw a well-dressed person walk in from outside. He first stood at the door and searched for a while, then his gaze fell on Tang Gua. When he realized that Ming Huan was sitting beside Tang Gua, his expression changed slightly. He quickly walked over to Tang Gua. Miss Tang, Yi Lian shouted. I didn't expect you to be here. System, keep pretending. You only came because you knew that the host was here. You can't hide it anymore, can you? Young Master Ming, Yi Lian greeted Ming Huan again. Young Master Ming, don't you have a date? Then, he added, have you just returned to the country and haven't had the time to find one? Of course, Ming Huan understood the meaning behind Yi Lian's words. He picked up the wine glass and shifted his seat. Dr. Yi doesn't seem to have a female companion. Yi Lian's gaze fell on Tang Gua. He reached out his hand and made a gentlemanly gesture. May I have the honor of inviting Miss Tang to be my date tonight? When he walked in and saw Ming Huan sitting beside Tang Gua, Yi Lian panicked. That kind of desperation made him say something that he wouldn't normally say. The first time he met Ming Huan was when they were studying abroad. Ming Huan majored in economics while he majored in medicine. Chapter 38-36. It was because they had the same skin color, the same hair color, and the same language that they were speaking that they were able to get closer to each other. System, he's anxious, he's anxious. Yi Lian was still waiting. He was actually very nervous. Tang Gua observed him for a while. When she was about to say something, a scream came from the crowd. Then Jiang Wenjing's voice came, Lin Lin, what's wrong? Because of the noise, Yi Lian and Tang Gua were not in the mood. They were all attracted by the noise. Call the ambulance. Why is Miss Jiang in a coma? Could it be that something has happened? Miss Jiang's body doesn't look very good. Hearing this, Yi Lian couldn't hold back anymore. He said to Tang Gua, Miss Tang, I have to go and see her. No matter how annoying Jiang Lin was, he had to go and see a sick person. Besides, Jiang Lin used to be his patient. Could it be that there was something wrong with her liver? No, Jiang Lin had done a lot of follow-up checkups. It showed that her liver had recovered very well. Dr. Yi, you go and see her first. Seeing Yi Lian, Jiang Wenjing said anxiously, hurry up and take a look at Lin Lin. Yi Lian checked Jiang Lin's condition and suggested that they send her to the hospital immediately. The hospital was not too far from here. It was better not to wait for the ambulance. He didn't know how long it would take for the ambulance to arrive. Of course, Jiang Wenjing listened to the suggestion and quickly carried Jiang Lin out. Yi Lian followed behind. Jing Ainin also ran quickly behind Jiang Wenjing. His eyes were red and he couldn't stop crying. Tang Gua and Ming Huan, of course, were not left behind. Many people who had a good relationship with the Jiang family also followed. After all, it was such a big matter. How could they not go? In the hospital, there were countless people of status waiting for him. Especially the Jiang couple, they were worried. They even suspected that the last operation was not done well. Jiang Wenjing also thought so. Even though it had been more than a year since that incident, if it was really a problem, he wouldn't let Yi Lian go. Yi Lian was still saving the patient. He didn't know what the Jiang family was thinking. During the whole process, only Jing Ainin kept asking Jiang Wenjing if Jiang Lin would be okay. Tang Gua couldn't tell whether Jing Ainin was concerned about Jiang Lin's situation or had other intentions. When the result came out, the Jiang family and Jiang Wenjing were all stunned. Jiang Lin had kidney disease, and it was very serious. According to the current situation, she could choose conservative treatment. However, the effect might not be too good. In the end, there was a high chance that a new kidney would be needed. He said this to let the Jiang family be mentally prepared. If there was a need to change, someone would have to make a sacrifice. The Jiang couple subconsciously looked at Jiang Wenjing. The liver was a match, and there was a great chance that the kidney would be a match as well. So, if the conservative treatment was not performed well, their son might be stabbed again. No, absolutely not. It was one thing to cut out a part of the liver, but cutting out a kidney was absolutely impossible. Not to mention a man, if any person were to lose a kidney, the impact would definitely not be small. With only one kidney, not only would it affect his body, but he would also have to risk his life for half of his life. What if there was something wrong with Jiang Wenjing's other kidney? Who would replace him? Wouldn't that be waiting for death? Although they didn't want Jiang Lin to die, they knew very well who to care about between their biological son and their adopted daughter. Chapter 38-37. After receiving Jiang Lin's diagnosis, Jiang Wenjing subconsciously felt a little pain in his waist. He couldn't understand the various indicators and symbols on the professional diagnosis, but he could still understand the final result. Jiang Lin's problem was with her kidneys. Both kidneys had problems. He couldn't accept such a result. He understood what the doctor meant from his previous words. If the conservative treatment was not good, then Jiang Lin would face the necrosis of both kidneys. Her only chance of survival was to replace her kidneys. Furthermore, the longest duration of this period was less than half a year. Doctor, I want to do a match first. When Jiang Wenjing was still in a daze and couldn't accept the fact in front of him, Jing Ainin's words pulled everyone back to reality. They all looked at Jing Ainin. Seeing that she made this choice without hesitation, they all understood how much Jing Ainin loved her sister Jiang Lin. Jing Ainin's words made the Jiang family, including Jiang Wenjing, feel a little relieved. If the liver didn't match, it didn't necessarily mean that the kidney didn't match, right? They were twins. What if it was possible? Therefore, no one stopped Jing Ainin. This time, Tang Gua didn't say anything. It had been so long. As the daughter of the Tang family, she should let go of Jiang Wenjing. There was no need to do something that would harm her health. Looking at Jing Ainin's back, the Jiang family thought of the liver replacement last time. Their relaxed hearts were slowly pressed down by a huge stone. They thought that it might match, but what if it didn't? Tangwa didn't say anything at this time. She didn't need to do anything at all. All Jing Ainen needed to do was to pretend and do a match. As for whether Jiang Wenjing would be stabbed or not, it depended on how good Jiang Lin's means were. Now that everything had changed, Jiang Wenjing would definitely not be able to escape Jiang Lin's means. He would definitely take the initiative to be stabbed. Even though he was unwilling in his heart, he believed that his feelings for Jiang Lin were deep. He couldn't watch the pitiful Jiang Lin, who was devoted to him wholeheartedly, die. Especially at this time, Jiang Lin didn't care about status and was willing to be with him forever. Men, especially scumbags, couldn't escape the superficial affection of some women. Miss Jiang's life is full of misfortunes. How did he get such a disease at such a young age? The others had already started to discuss it, but no one wanted to do the matching. It would be fine if they weren't compatible, but once they were compatible, it wouldn't be right for them to cut it off or not to cut it off. The people at the party left one after another after greeting the Jiang family. Of course, everyone left some good wishes and said that they would visit again when they were free. Tangguo waited until Jing Ainen came back. At that time, the Jiang family was still there. Let me stay here today to take care of Lin Lin. I hope that under my care, Lin Lin can get better as soon as possible. Jing Ainen said. The Jiang couple couldn't stand this kind of blow. They were going to call Jiang Wenjing away and tell him that no matter what the final result was, he was not allowed to agree to give Jiang Lin a kidney. However, Jing Ainen spoke first and grabbed Jiang Wenjing's arm. Ah Zheng, let's go in and have a look. If Lin Lin wakes up later and asks about it, I don't know what to say to her. She's usually the closest to you, her brother. I hope you can persuade her to cooperate with the treatment and not let her imagination run wild. No matter what, we will accompany her and never give up on her. The Jiang couple watched Jing Ainen pull Jiang Wenjing in. Because Tanggua and Ming Huan were still there, they didn't say anything. Chapter 38. Ming Huan and Tangguo looked at each other. He finally knew what was wrong with Jing Ainen. She was like a completely different person in front of others and in front of Jiang Wenjing. What kind of person was Jing Ainen in front of him? She was graceful and spoke gently. She didn't have red eyes and couldn't help but cry. The gentleness in her eyes made him want to hug her many times. But in front of Jiang Wenjing, he felt different. Jing Ainen was like a headless fly. She didn't seem to know anything and had to rely on Jiang Wenjing for everything. She couldn't make her own decisions. This kind of Jing Ainen was real, but also unreal to him. This feeling made him feel strange, but he couldn't help but wonder what exactly Jing Ainen had experienced. Now that Jiang Lin was in trouble, Jing Ainen was upset, so he couldn't dig deeper. Miss Tang, are you going back now, or? As he spoke, Ming Huan glanced at the spot where Yi Lian had left. Yi Lian was very busy now. It was obvious that he could not leave the hospital. Being a doctor is like this. When you're busy, you don't even have time to send your girlfriend off. Who told you that I'm his girlfriend? Miss Tang, I'm just giving an example. Why did you rush to admit it? Ming Huan teased. I'm just joking. Actually, when Dr. Yi was in school, many girls failed to get close to him. He's a bookworm. This is the first time I've seen him take the initiative to invite someone to be his female companion, although tonight seemed to be a failure. But I can guarantee that this is the most initiative he's ever taken. Really? He's asked me out for lunch for more than a year. Seeing Ming Huan's incredulous look, Tangguo continued, Dr. Yi is not only responsible for his duties, but he is also a kind-hearted person. Every time he has lunch, he will help the little girl downstairs buy all her flowers. He said that it's not suitable for a man to have flowers at home, so he gave them to me. Ming Huan was speechless. Miss Tang, is it really good for you to show off your love without giving him face? You know that I can't get what I want, but you still want to kill me. Let's go in and see how Jiang Lin is, Tang Gua suggested. I didn't expect her to be so sick. Yeah, I didn't expect her to get such a disease at such a young age. Ming Huan sighed. The thought of Jing Ainin doing the matching made him very worried. He had already seen from the side that if Jiang Lin really needed a kidney transplant, no one in the Jiang family would be willing to take the risk. There was nothing to say about this matter. Whether he was willing or not, there was no way to condemn him. He was worried about Jing Ainin, but he had no right to stop her. However, this was no small matter. It would definitely have a certain impact in the future. Furthermore, they were sisters. If something were to happen to her in the future, then, Jiang Lin had already woken up. Knowing that she was sick, she hugged Jing Ainin and cried. Lin, don't cry. I've already done the matching. We are twins. If our livers don't match, it doesn't mean that our kidneys don't match. Don't worry, I will never give up on you. I will always be by your side to take care of you. Jing Ainin looked at Jiang Wenjing and said, and you, Jing, he will always be by your side. We will not give up on you. You must be strong. Jiang Lin's heart was indeed on the verge of breaking down. It had not been easy for her to get a liver transplant. Why was there a problem with her kidney? As expected, God did not like her that much. When she heard that Jing Ainin was going to do the matching, she was not touched at all, and she did not have any hope. She did not succeed last time, and the chances of success this time were not high. Jiang Wenjing. The most important thing was whether Jiang Wenjing was willing to save her. Jiang Lin cried like a tearful person on the surface, but in fact, she was thinking about how to make Jiang Wenjing give up one of his kidneys. Chapter 38-39. I'm probably going to die, right? Jiang Lin's tears immediately turned red. She hugged Jing Ainin tightly. Why am I always dragging you guys down? Is God punishing me for my selfishness? Jing Ainin could understand Jiang Lin's words, and so could Jiang Wenjing. Of course, Tang Gua, who knew the inside story, could still understand. She guessed that Jiang Lin said this mainly for Jiang Wenjing to hear. As for Ming Huan, he didn't understand. He didn't like Jiang Lin's personality and thought that it wasn't strange for her to say such discouraging words because she was sick now. He didn't see anything strange for the time being. Jing Ainin felt that Jing Ainin and her liver didn't match last time. This time, there was a high chance that the kidney wouldn't match. Even if Jing Ainin was willing to contribute, she didn't need it. The Jiang couple had visited her earlier, and she had actually woken up. The two of them whispered a lot. Although they asked the doctor to try his best to treat her, the Jiang family didn't lack money. She could also tell that the Jiang couple wouldn't agree to Jiang Wenjing contributing a kidney to her. Kidneys were hard to find, regardless of whether they were rich or poor. It wasn't easy to find a suitable one. It could only be said that rich people didn't have to worry about the cost. As long as there was a suitable one, she would definitely have the priority. However, if she couldn't find a suitable one like last time, she could only wait for death. This time, her illness was fierce. The doctor said that the conservative treatment period was only about half a year. If she didn't get better during this period, they had to consider replacing her with a good one. The human body couldn't lack a kidney, otherwise she could only wait for death. Of course, Jiang Lin didn't want to die, so she could only coax Jiang Wenjing to agree to give her a kidney before that. As long as Jiang Wenjing agreed, even if the Jiang couple didn't want to, they couldn't stop him. Jiang Wenjing was a filial and rebellious person. Once he decided on something, the more the Jiang couple objected, the more he would insist. However, she couldn't say what she needed. She had to let Jiang Wenjing say it himself and be willing. Jiang Lin cried on the surface, but in her heart, she was planning one after another. She fell asleep crying in Jing Ainan's arms and didn't say anything to Jiang Wenjing for the time being. It was precisely this kind of behavior that made Jiang Wenjing more worried and more pitiful for Jiang Lin. If he didn't have a little bit of rationality, he might have said on the spot, Lin, don't worry. If the treatment really doesn't work, I'll give you a kidney. However, the influence of the kidney on a person was too great, so he forcefully swallowed his words. Seeing that Jiang Lin had fallen asleep, his brows did not loosen. When he came back to his senses, he felt that something was wrong because there were 3 pairs of eyes on him. Tanguo said at the right time, Jiang Lin is so pitiful. She had a liver problem last time. Fortunately, you are her brother. Otherwise, I don't know what would have happened. How long has it been? Why is there a problem with your kidney? Didn't you find it during the previous physical examination? After the operation, there were several checkups, but no one said anything wrong. Jing Ainan said while wiping his tears. His eyes were always on Jiang Wenjing. Finally, he sighed, I hope my type matches Lin's. If it doesn't match, I really don't know what to do. Lin is so young. How could she have such a disease? System, come on, this is the host's junior in the drama school. Chapter 3840. The system was speechless. It was a disease that was destined to happen, but you made it happen in advance. It would be strange if it didn't happen after eating those stimulating foods every day. Jiang Wenjing heard Jing Ainan's words and felt suffocated. Did he not like Jiang Lin? Of course, he liked her. He liked Jiang Lin's wholehearted devotion to him. He liked Jiang Lin's understanding. He also liked Jiang Lin's playfulness and cuteness. However, when it came to making a choice, he still had to consider his own health first. This time was different from the last time. Ah, Zheng, you go back first. I'll stay here with Lin. You have so many things to deal with in the company. Jing Ainan did not urge him and asked Jiang Wenjing to donate a kidney. Like Jiang Lin, she knew Jiang Wenjing very well. About this man, if you took the initiative to ask for it, he might not give it. He might even be suspicious. But if he took the initiative to give it to you, you would definitely get it. Even if you were being schemed against, he might not know. For example, Jiang Lin had schemed against Jiang Wenjing in the beginning. For Jiang Lin, Jiang Wenjing had tortured Jing Ainan to a pulp. Jiang Wenjing felt that he needed to calm down and said that he would leave first. After dealing with the company's affairs tomorrow, he would come to see Jiang Lin early. During this period, the Jiang couple had called him several times, but he had temporarily hung up. Now he had to go back and talk to them about Jiang Lin. Donating a part of the liver was easy, but donating a kidney, no matter how much money it cost, those who were willing might not be able to match it, and those who were able to match it might not be willing. Jiang Wenjing dragged his heavy footsteps and left. For the time being, he did not have the mood to think about anything else. Because his mind was full of Jiang Lin's pitiful crying face, which could not be erased. Tang Guo looked at Jiang Wenjing's back and knew that this pervert could not escape Jiang Lin's scheme. Miss Jing, I'll leave first. I'll come to see Jiang Lin another day. Tang Guo said goodbye to Jing Anan and carefully observed Jing Anan's expression. She saw that there was no flaw on Jing Anan's face, as if she was really sad for Jiang Lin's experience. Well, Miss Tang, take care. I've delayed your time again. Ming Huan wanted to stay, but his identity was not suitable. In the end, he could only say goodbye and leave. Before he left, he said, when the result is out, tell me. Actually, he was a little afraid that Jing Anan would be compatible, although this thought was very selfish. But if they really matched, he had no right to stop it. The only thing he could do was to become Jing Anan's shield. If she really couldn't stay in the Jiang family one day, he was willing to take good care of her. Jing Anan sensed Ming Huan's thoughts and his eyes welled up with tears. This time, he didn't have to hide it and could directly wipe his tears. Now, there was a very good reason. Jiang Lin was sick. She should be sad. Yes. Tang Guo and Ming Huan left the ward. Ming Huan said, Miss Tang, do you need me to send you home? Don't misunderstand. I don't have any feelings for you. I'm just helping Dr. Yi send you home. No, Master Ming, you can go back first. I remember that Dr. Yi didn't have time to drive here. She was in Jiang Wenjing's car before. My driver has already parked my car outside. Oh, if that's the case, then I'll leave first. Ming Huan didn't force him. Before he left, he muttered, there are even people who like this kind of blockhead. Master Ming, are you jealous? Tang Guo's eyes were full of smiles. Ming Huan now felt that she was very annoying. She clearly knew that he couldn't get what he wanted, but she still said such words to poke his heart. Chapter 38-41. Yi Lian was busy until late at night. He finally relaxed and was ready to go home. When he walked out of the hospital, he realized that he didn't drive here. His car was still at the party. When he took out his phone and was about to call for a ride, Tang Guo walked to him. Miss Tang. Yi Lian put away his phone and looked around. Why aren't you home yet? Then he patted his head. Sorry, I was so busy that I forgot that your car didn't drive here. It's not safe for you to go home alone. Let's go together. I'll take you home first. Yi Lian took out his phone again. For some reason, he felt much better. You should have told me earlier. No need to call a taxi. My driver is already here. Let's go. I'll take you home. Tang Guo stopped Yi Lian. Yi Lian was still a little guilty. I'll try to remember this next time. Maybe I'm used to being so busy. He felt that if he had to do it twice more, his fate would change in a strange way. Tang Guo giggled and walked towards the car. Yi Lian hurriedly opened the door, acting like a driver. Is the success rate of conservative treatment for Jiang Lin's disease high? Tang Guo asked casually. She was mainly concerned about whether Jiang Wenjing would be stabbed because of this. Speaking of the patient, Yi Lian looked more serious. It's hard to say. There is a chance of recovery. But according to the current speculation, the chance is not high. Both of her kidneys have problems. According to the current situation, it's better to have a backup plan. It was better not to exchange if possible. Things that didn't belong to him were always different. Jiang Lin's condition came too suddenly. He never thought that it would be a kidney problem. Jiang Lin's life is really full of difficulties. She has one disease after another. I don't know if Miss Jing can find a match. Yi Lian felt that Tang Guo was very strange. She had the same attitude twice. She said that she didn't care about Jiang Lin, but she knew how to find a match before. She said that she cared about Jiang Lin, but why did she give him the feeling that she was so indifferent to everything that was happening in front of her? According to the previous situation, there is a high chance that they won't be a match. Yi Lian said, but the chances of Jiang Wenjing and Jiang Lin being a match are higher. Moreover, he had an intuition that in the end, Jiang Wenjing would have to take the blow to save Jiang Lin's life. They had all seen the attitude of the Jiang family today. The Jiang family might not agree, so it all depended on Jiang Wenjing. If the family members were unwilling, as doctors, they couldn't say much. They could only try their best to treat them. Jiang Wenjing cares a lot about his younger sister, Jiang Lin. If Miss Jing didn't succeed, Jiang Wenjing would never watch Jiang Lin die. Tang Guo said, Jiang Lin is so young. It would be a pity if she couldn't be cured. In the hospital, there are so many young lives leaving every day. Some are even younger than Jiang Lin. In the face of illness, everyone is equal. As a doctor, we can only do our best. Other than that, there is nothing else we can do. Has Dr. Yi ever had a patient who died? Yi Lian nodded. Of course I do. I'm not a god. It's impossible for me to save all the patients that are sent to me. Many times, some patients who come to see a doctor are already in the late stages. The cancer cells have completely spread, but they are just delaying the time. They don't even have the chance to operate. Chapter 38-42. Do you have any thoughts about this, Dr. Yi? Tang Guo looked back and smiled. Do you feel numb after seeing so much death? How can I be numb? I can only say that after seeing so much, my mental endurance has increased. But when facing patients who can't be saved, I still feel a little sad. I don't know how to describe that feeling of helplessness so that Miss Tang can feel it. Yi Lian smiled. Besides, every time I walk out of the hospital, I feel that it's good to be alive. Then you should be happy to save a patient, right? Of course. My dream is to save people, Yi Lian said without thinking. This has been my dream since I was young. Yi Lian suddenly paused. Now there's one more. Oh. Tang Guo was curious. What is it? Before Yi Lian could speak again, she reminded him, Dr. Yi, you're home. Tang Guo looked at Yi Lian with a smile. It's late. Tomorrow will be a busy day. You've been busy for so long tonight. It's time to rest. After Yi Lian was pushed out of the car by Tang Guo, he was still a little confused. Weren't they talking about dreams? She already asked him about his other dream. Why didn't she wait for him to finish talking about it? He looked at Tang Guo's side profile from the car window. He felt a little reluctant to leave. In the end, he said softly, Miss Tang, I'll treat you to lunch when you're free. By the way, Miss Tang, will you visit Jiang Lin at the hospital tomorrow? Tang Guo smiled and looked up with her smiling eyes. Yes. Then, Tang Guo disappeared from Yi Lian's sight. Yi Lian pressed his chest. He was annoyed that he didn't tell her his other dream quickly. Then, he felt relieved. It seemed that he was too hasty to say it. He should find another chance to say it. Fresh flowers, fine wine, and a beautiful ring. Yi Lian went home with a smile. His heart was beating loudly. His other dream was that Miss Tang could be his girlfriend. Of course, it would be even better if she could be his wife. However, the process in between could not be omitted. The next day, Tang Guo first went to the company to deal with the things that needed to be dealt with before she went to the hospital. Jing Anan was already in the hospital, talking to Jiang Lin. Jiang Lin was sitting by the window. Her eyes were lifeless, and she looked very miserable. There was no need to guess that she was doing this for Jiang Wenjing. Not long after, Jiang Wenjing came. Sure enough, when he saw that Jiang Lin didn't say anything, but her eyes were red and she was crying, his heart ached. For half a month, Jiang Lin was in this state, as if she had nothing left to live for. But in front of Jiang Wenjing, she forced a smile. Jing Ainan's results were already out. He was still unable to match. After hearing the news, the Jiang family was very silent. The Jiang couple and Jiang Lin had said that they would find a suitable kidney for her as soon as possible. The introduction made it clear that it was impossible for Jiang Wenjing to make any more sacrifices. Jiang Lin's heart was filled with resentment. She had long known that this would be the result. She could only choose to pursue Jiang Wenjing. She was already halfway there. Now, she just needed to take another step. She wanted Jiang Wenjing to experience the feeling of losing her. Then, he would obediently submit. No matter what, she had to take a gamble. On this day, while Jing Ainan was busy and no one was in the hospital, Jiang Lin secretly ran out of the hospital. No one knew where she went. When Jiang Wenjing received the call, he went crazy. He directly left the conference room without caring about anything else. Jing Ainan gathered his emotions, stood up from the table in a panic, and stumbled out of the room. Chapter 38-43. Dear host, Jiang Lin secretly ran away from the hospital. She probably wanted to make Jiang Wenjing feel nervous and let him experience the feeling of losing her. The system reported. It had to be said that every step Jiang Lin took was like grabbing a man's lifeline. In the plot, if she wasn't too selfish and really touched Jiang Wenjing's bottom line, even if Jiang Wenjing liked Jing Ainan, he wouldn't necessarily do anything to Jiang Lin. After all, Jiang Lin's final ending was being sent to prison by Jiang Wenjing. Someone like the original host, who he didn't like at all, obviously didn't do anything, but her ending was so miserable. Jiang Lin was the one who hurt Jing Ainan physically and mentally. Speaking of which, Jiang Wenjing really loved Jiang Lin. Then let's help her and erase the traces of Jiang Lin. Let's make Jiang Wenjing panic for a while. If they didn't add fuel to the fire now, when would they wait? Also, push some news to Jiang Wenjing from time to time. Don't give him a chance to think about it. Even if Jiang Wenjing didn't want to be stabbed, he still had to be stabbed. He had to be stabbed, not one less. With Tang Gui adding fuel to the fire, Jiang Wenjing still couldn't find Jiang Lin even though he was so powerful. Especially the news of young women's deaths on his phone every day, which made him very confused. As soon as he got home, Jing Ainan cried. Anyway, no matter where he went, it was not quiet. When he returned to the Jiang family, he felt the indifference of his parents. Jiang Wenjing felt that they were a bit cold-blooded. Judging from their attitude, they really hoped that Jiang Lin would never come back. The attitude of the Jiang family completely angered Jiang Wenjing. He swore to find Jiang Lin and use all the power of the Jiang family. Especially when he saw the strange news, he decided that no matter what, he had to save Jiang Lin. If in the end, he really couldn't find a suitable kidney, he would give it to her. The main thing was that Jing Ainan was at home, crying every day. He didn't understand why this woman was fine in the company, but when she came home, she cried. It was completely abnormal. Ah, Zheng, you must find Lin Lin. She really wants to be with you all the time. I really hope that Lin Lin can continue to live. Even if our relationship is always like this, as long as Lin Lin and you are happy, I am willing. Jing Ainan's words touched Jiang Wenjing. He was a little touched, and that strange feeling rose again. However, he didn't think too much about it. He only felt that at this time, he should first find Jiang Lin. Don't worry, I'll find her. Lin Lin loves my cooking the most. When she comes back, no matter how busy I am, I will cook for her. Go to sleep first. I'll inform you as soon as I have news about Lin Lin. Jiang Wenjing was so annoyed that the dark circles under his eyes were very big. Only then did Jing Anan feel relieved and return to her room. When she returned to her room, her expression returned to normal. She sat in front of the mirror and looked at the photo with Jiang Lin. Her voice was soft and gentle. Lin Lin, don't worry. How could Ajing bear to let you die? You are his true love. Isn't it just a kidney? He'll give it to you. Because of Tang Guo's interference, Jiang Lin disappeared for 2 months. Seeing that Jiang Wenjing was about to go crazy, Jiang Lin gave herself away. She pretended to secretly go to the hospital to prescribe medicine so that Jiang Wenjing could find out about her. However, she had not been well for the past 2 months. Her body felt very uncomfortable every day. Chapter 38-44. Jiang Wenjing found Jiang Lin and saw that she had lost a lot of weight. She looked haggard and pale, and his heart ached. Seeing Jiang Lin run away, he quickly caught up with her and hugged her. Lin Lin, don't be stubborn. Come back with me for treatment. Do you know how worried I was about you these 2 months? Brother Ajing, I'm hopeless. The so-called conservative treatment is just delaying time. During this period, I've gone to other hospitals to ask. My situation is very bad. After choosing conservative treatment, I'll eventually reach the last step. I can't drag you down. What are you talking about? I'm not talking nonsense. I just want to find a quiet place to leave the world. I don't want to drag you down anymore. When sister found out about the match that day, she cried very sadly. Since we met, she hasn't been happy for more than a few days. Jiang Lin struggled, but she couldn't, so she stopped moving. Actually, sister has always had you in her heart. She likes you very much. At first, I was worried about you. If I could live for a long time, I definitely wouldn't give up on you because you're the most important person in my heart. Jiang Lin's face was full of tears. But I won't live for long. Since I'm going to die, I can't selfishly occupy you. With sister here, she'll take good care of you. Brother Ajing, after I die, you and sister can live a good life. Lin Lin, don't die all day, okay? Come back with me. I won't let you die. Jiang Wenjing said firmly. As long as I have Jiang Wenjing, you won't die. No, brother Ajing, I don't want to drag you down anymore. My body always has these problems. Who knows what will break next time? I really can't bear such a life. Even if I really don't want to leave you, I don't want to drag you down. But I really don't want to implicate you. Brother Ajing, I really can't bear to part with you. I can't bear to hurt you at all. Jiang Lin broke free from Jiang Wenjing and was about to run away. She just took 2 steps and fell to the ground. She thought Jiang Wenjing would quickly rush up to catch her, but she ran faster and Jiang Wenjing didn't react in time. By the time she reacted, she had already fallen heavily to the ground. The pain was so painful that she almost woke up. Jiang Wenjing hurriedly took Jiang Lin away and rushed to the hospital. Jiang Lin returned to the hospital. After a checkup, her condition had worsened. Because she hadn't received any treatment in the past 2 months, her condition was even worse. In the end, the doctor's suggestion was to find a suitable kidney for Jiang Lin's operation as soon as possible. Without a suitable kidney, they could only stall for time. When Jiang Wenjing heard this news, it was as if he had heard thunder. He couldn't accept it for a while. Jiang Lin did not give him time to react. A nurse rushed in and said that Jiang Lin had tried to jump off the building. Fortunately, Tang Guo had discovered her and stopped her in time. Tang Guo could see through Jiang Lin's thoughts. Of course, she had to add fuel to the fire. She was very satisfied with this show. Just let me die. Once I'm dead, I'll be rid of everything and won't be a burden to anyone else. As long as I'm alive, everyone else is tired. Those who didn't know Jiang Lin's background would really think that she had chosen this path out of desperation. Under Jiang Lin's plan, Jiang Wenjing finally hugged her affectionately and said, "Lin Lin, I will save you. Just wait. I won't let you die. How can I watch you die?" Chapter 38-45. Therefore, Jiang Wenjing went to do the matching. This time, he chose to keep it a secret from his parents. Before he went to do the matching, he even warned Jing Ainin not to let it slip. Jing Ainin agreed with tears in her eyes and promised, "Jing, thank you, thank you. I will take good care of you in the future." Tang Guo glanced at Jing Ainin. She sounded as if Jiang Wenjing would be paralyzed in the future. However, it was auspicious. Yi Lian also heard Jing Ainin's words. Jiang Lin was still his patient. Her condition was not good, so he had to check on her frequently. Now that Jiang Wenjing was willing to do the matching, he felt that Jiang Lin's life could be saved. He also felt that Jing Ainin's words were a little strange, but he did not know the details and did not think much about it. Ming Huan wanted to come and take a look, but he could not find a perfect excuse. He was afraid of being misunderstood, so he did not come. Fortunately, he had Jing Ainin's contact information and could still find out some things. Later, in order to find out more, he decided to start from Yi Lian and found out what happened recently. Ming Huan felt that these things were strange, but he did not intend to look into it. However, he felt that there was something different between Jiang Wenjing and Jiang Lin from a few words from Yi Lian. In order to confirm this, he chose to ask Tang Guo for help and found an opportunity to visit Jiang Lin with Tang Guo. After seeing the interaction between Jiang Lin and Jiang Wenjing, the knowledgeable Ming Huan finally understood. The way he looked at Jing Ainin was filled with pity. If Jiang Wenjing and Jiang Lin really liked each other, why did they mess with Jing Ainin? Thinking of this, he was furious. If Jiang Lin was not sick, he would have talked about this. When Ming Huan walked out of the ward, he was caught by Yi Lian in the corner. "Yi Lian, what are you doing?" Ming Huan was shocked and patted his chest. "Don't you know that you can scare people to death?" Yi Lian looked serious. "Why did you come with Miss Tang?" His questioning tone made Ming Huan laugh. He patted Yi Lian's shoulder and said, "Hey, I heard that you've been treating Miss Tang to lunch for more than a year. Why are you still calling her Miss Tang when you're just friends?" "Yi Lian, it seems like this isn't your major. You're no different from a poor student. Don't talk about other things. Miss Tang is not someone you can provoke. You'd better stay away from her." Yi Lian's words attracted Ming Huan's ridicule. He really didn't want to cause any misunderstandings, so he hurriedly explained clearly. "Don't worry, Miss Tang and I are just ordinary friends. I don't have any improper thoughts about her. I just want to borrow Miss Tang to come to the hospital today. You just need to remember that I won't get in your way. Brother, my luck isn't as good as yours." Ming Huan sighed sadly. "You still have a chance with the person you like, but I can't be with the person I like. Miss Jing." Yi Lian was not a fool. He immediately understood what she meant. His expression was complicated. Are you talking about Miss Jing? Ming Huan nodded. Remember, don't tell anyone. I don't want to cause trouble for her. After this, Yi Lian really didn't find trouble with Ming Huan. Instead, he became more nervous. If Jiang Wenjing didn't meet Jing Anan and didn't break off the engagement with Miss Tang, then wouldn't he and Miss Tang have no fate? Chapter 38-46. Jiang Wenjing's match results had come out, and he could undergo the operation. If it were not for the surgery, Yi Lian would have immediately tidied himself up and confirmed their relationship to prevent any unforeseen circumstances from arising. Jiang Wenjing kept the fact that he wanted to give a kidney to Jiang Lin a secret. On the day of the operation, the Jiang couple came to the hospital to see Jiang Lin, but they found that she was not in the ward. After asking, they found that the operation had been going on for an hour, and there was no way to stop it. Their faces turned pale in an instant, and they trembled with anger. The two of them were very regretful. They always felt that they had adopted a debt collector. If it weren't for this, their own son would not have been stabbed twice because of her. Not to mention the liver, now he even lost a kidney. Jiang Wenjing was in the prime of his life. Even if losing a kidney did not affect his normal life, who could predict what would happen next? But now, it was too late for them to regret. They couldn't scold Jiang Lin, so they had to give Jing Anan a bad look. Taking advantage of this time, they ordered Jing Anan to prepare nutritious food and ordered her around. Jing Anan didn't get angry. Instead, he looked very obedient, which made the two angry. No matter what, they couldn't let their anger go. The operation was successful, and the Jiang family was relieved. Tang Guo watched Jiang Wenjing and Jiang Lin being pushed into the ward from inside one after another, and the corners of her mouth rose slightly. Very good, what should be done had been done, so the next step was to see how Jing Anan wanted to perform. If Jing Anan couldn't do it, then she would start to bite the elephant of the Jiang family. As for the hospital, she had nothing to do with it. Before Jiang Lin and Jiang Wenjing woke up, Tang Guo left. Yi Lian looked at Tang Guo's back as she walked away. He could only watch helplessly. He decided to endure for a while longer. He would definitely find a good opportunity to make Miss Tang his girlfriend. During the recovery period, Jing Anan not only had to be busy with the company's affairs, but also came to the hospital every day to take care of the two. At present, Jing Anan's ability was very good. Jiang Wenjing found that Jing Anan could help with some company affairs, so he handed them over to her. Jiang Wenjing found that Jing Anan handled it well, so he was relieved and asked her to help with more and more things. Assistant Yang silently watched Jing Anan sitting in the president's leather chair, and she was speechless. Didn't Mr. Jiang and Jiang Lin have a relationship? Why was such an important matter handed over to Jing Anan to handle? This Jing Anan was also a fool. He was actually willing to cover for the two of them. Now, he was even helping to deal with the company's affairs. If this were to happen to her, she would definitely turn the company upside down and cause chaos. Unknowingly, during the period of Jiang Wenjing's recovery, Jing Anan's ability was recognized by the company's people. They found that their president's wife didn't seem to be so bad. His background was a little poor, but his ability to deal with problems and respond to emergencies was still quite good. If he trained more, he would still be a promising talent. Jiang Wenjing didn't know this. He only knew that Jing Anan was very obedient and did whatever she was told. He had also asked his secretary whether Jing Anan had used his special power to do anything while he was in the hospital. It was all arranged by him. That was why he had touched it. On second thought, Jiang Wenjing realized that Jing Anan was not ambitious at all. If he had not been willing to save Jiang Lin, she might not have been able to do all this. Previously, she was just forcing herself to do it. It wasn't that he didn't feel that Jing Anan would secretly reveal her adoration for him. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.